have an idea that is totally ticked.
Totally what?
Look, I don't know why the Tooth Fairy's being so cool to me. Maybe she's hot for me, I don't know. But if we all chip in with teeth, then I can hide them under my pillow, and we could get enough money to buy a Sega Dreamcast.
Sega Dreamcast?
All we need is teeth. I already lost all my baby teeth.
Me too. You still have baby teeth, Kenny?
No. Kenny, think about it. Don't you want a Sega Dreamcast?
No.
All right, Kenny's in, you guys. Tits.
How's that? Everybody hear that?
Yeah, sounds good.
Sounds beautiful.
Okay.
Do you guys use Infogrames Rocks a lot?
Probably more than any other podcast recording it in 2009. I would say definitely.
Yeah.
No, G4 did use it recently for something.
Really?
The website. and everything.
But it's not about that. We're recording on 9909. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Very
Dreamcast.
good.
For TalkRadar 68, I'm Christopher Antista.
I'm Michael Raparez.
I am Brett Elston.
And I'm Christian Nutt, guest star.
Special guest! He appears on... How many other podcasts have you appeared on? All? Every?
At least 3. 4.
That's a lot.
That's it?
Well, there's not that many video game podcasts, are there really?
There's over 100.
Hey, to our fans.
Run out of San Francisco Bay Area by people who get paid to do it. How about that?
Maybe.
Oh, but we're here this week to talk about Dreamcast.
Well, real quick though,
Well, what?
Christian, where are you from?
I am the features director of Gama Sutra, but more importantly, I used to work here.
Used to work here, and
Dude, you used to work everywhere.
I was going to say, of all of us, you have probably the longest gaming pedigree.
Well-
I don't know if you want to run through a quick list.
Well, yeah, okay, so currently features director of Gama Sutra. Prior to that, worked here. Prior to that, a freelancer. I wrote for EGM, 1UP, Official PlayStation Magazine, the old one.
Right, the zip one.
Also wrote for New Type USA when that was around. Prior to that, I worked at GMR,
God.
which anyone who used
I
to...
remember GMR.
Yes.
I love GMR.
Which Michael also did. Yeah.
I remember the Fable cover.
You may have gotten it for free with your EB Edge card.
That's true. In fact, that was how you would have gotten it.
That was the only way you would have done.
And then prior to that, I was, again, a freelancer. Actually, no, prior to that, I was at GameSpy. Then prior to that, a freelancer. Prior to that, I worked at Gamers.com, which was back in 2000, where I was the Dreamcast editor.
Whoa, there we go. There were games in 2000?
OMG. Yes.
What are they? I was just for the fuck of it, like looking up all these Dreamcast games, and I went, Choo Choo Rocket. And I go to the Wikipedia page, and boom, Christian Nutt quoted from GameSpot. And it was not an embarrassing quote. I'm not going to...
No, I actually reread that review recently for some reason. It wasn't so bad.
No, it's the quote they used on Wikipedia is that it online could have been a crown jewel, and they fucking ruined it.
Yes.
I paraphrased.
The net code in Choo Choo Rocket was the actual very first online game release for the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
That it was, which is a strange... Because I included that game in an article that posted today, Friday. 22 brilliant Dreamcast games you allowed to die. Choo Choo Rocket being among them.
Well...
It came out for GBA.
Yeah, years later.
It was the first third-party Sega game.
Third-party
actually.
Sega game, and it was weird. That I had to confer with Michael and be like, was Choo Choo Rocket really the first online? It seemed like it came out a year after the system launched, and when it came built in with the modem, I was like, wow, it took them a year to deliver on a promise of a thing inside the box.
Oh, you could browse the internet.
Oh.
And I wish he was here, but a certain Games Radar editor, I won't say, guy or girl, used to use it for pornography.
Oh.
Mostly erotica. And right now...
At 56K.
At 56K, streaming text. It's quite beautiful.
Did his name rhyme with Briss Blantista?
No! No, at Choo Choo Rocket, Christian, you speak a little Japanese?
I do.
One of my favorite old commercials, Choo Choo Rocket, Japanese commercial.
Choo choo rocket とネズミを助けろチューチューロケット猫は怖いチューチューロケットロケットすごいズババババ
What was I being told there? Mouse and Rocket.
Like Choo Choo Rocket, rescue the mice. Choo Choo Rocket, the cat is scary. Choo Choo Rocket, The rocket's amazing. Su ba 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 ba.
These were all things I already knew. I can't believe they had it. All right. Choo Choo Rocket. That's probably the last time we'll bring it up.
I'm surprised with Japanese language being very literal. I'm surprised like they didn't just change the name to Choo Choo Rocket. The Japanese name was like Rocket Space Kitten or Rocket Space Cat.
Doesn't Choo Choo Rocket actually mean squeak squeak rocket?
Yeah.
Does it? Well, there you go.
Choo is like the noise a mouse makes.
Okay, there you go. That's pretty literal.
Like Pikachu.
Oh,
Means
damn.
sparkle squeak.
Sparkles.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Good God, I never knew that.
You know what else has nothing to do with that? The top 7 this week.
Oh, nice.
We're still doing it every Monday.
I wanted to. Can we talk to what's your Dreamcast background?
Wait, we're gonna keep talking about me? This is great.
Yeah, let's go.
We're both sporting Dreamcast era shirts.
It's true. I'm
10
wearing
years old
a
today.
Bleem T-shirt.
I
which
have
is
a white
fine.
Dreamcast shirt. I should have wore it.
I'm wearing my black Sega Dreamcast shirt that I got as a pre-order bonus from Toys R Us for getting it on launch day.
I stole mine from Toys R Us when I worked there.
Yeah, I don't know. Apparently, no one else I know has the black one. They all
Yeah,
have the white one.
all of ours were white.
And it looks pretty crappy. There's a hole in the armpit, and there's I think
Easy access.
I think Christian and I are the same here. When we used to work here, there's a very good chance these would have been in our daily rotation anyway.
Oh yeah.
Whether
Yeah.
$9.99, $9.09.
Yeah, I wore that shirt for probably about 2 years. That's it.
Yeah, I had a white Dreamcast T-shirt, but it's gone now. Went away.
But so you worked at the Dreamcast magazine?
Yeah.
No, I never worked for Dreamcast magazine. I worked for
Gamers.com.
GameSpot.
Gamers.com,
Okay.
and I got my start freelancing for for GameSpot back when it was called VideoGames.com, and it was still owned by Ziff Davis, who used to own EGM. And first thing I ever reviewed was Evolution for Dreamcast, which was an RPG by Sting.
Was it the first thing to brag about spontaneously created dungeons, randomly generating
It
dungeons?
did have randomly. I mean, it wasn't the first. It was one of the first console games to really
Was it
trumpet it as
Seventh
like a
Cross Evolution or that other?
No, it was Evolution, the one with the cute anime kid
okay.
RPG.
Yeah.
Right. Sacred device.
I was like, shit, randomly generated dungeons. I could play this for hours, and then I killed like 60,000 cockroaches and put the game down.
F-Zero X for N64 had a randomly generated track.
I like how
remember
you
that.
find a way to bring up F-Zero.
Yeah, look at that. In the Dreamcast
You're just like I
conversation.
remember you, Brett.
It's been years, man. I need an F-Zero.
You just hear the word random and your brain clicks on and goes, F-Zero.
You know how that relates to F-Zero.
I can insert F-Zero into this conversation.
But you were the... What?
So originally, I was a freelancer. I did a lot of Dreamcast reviews just because that was what was out at the time, but I was also a big, huge fan. I was a big Sega fan from years back. I was a big Saturn fan, actually.
Me too. Thank you. Michael and I are trumpeting the Saturn. Brett didn't own one.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only major console I never owned.
I
Strange
but yeah, I went straight into the Dreamcast. Like I was so excited. I remember back then, like trying to watch streaming video from Japan. I worked at a local ISP in before I worked for
Back
for any
east.
and I lived in New Jersey, and I tried to watch the D2 announcement press conference. So talk about I was such a Dreamcast fan, and then I remember when they announced it. They announced with all the hardware, these tiny little photos, poster stamp size, so long ago.
The weirdest thing is most of those official Sega sites, they still keep those up and running. I just love going back to them, even though some of them contain a lot of viruses, and I don't know why.
I actually have this archive of old, like I saved all the photos of the Dreamcast all the time because I was downloading them over modem, so I still have all those weird old photos from like before its system came out.
We should have talked to him before the week of Dreamcast Remembrance.
I was so into it though.
Well, there's no lack of it this week, that's for sure.
I used to spend what I used to do is I used to review a game for VideoGames.com. I'd get the check and then I'd pour it into more Dreamcast games and then review those. So that was kind of I was living from Dreamcast game to Dreamcast game, and I was selling them on Yahoo auctions when I didn't like them because you couldn't sell import Dreamcast games on eBay because Sega got them to ban the sale
Really?
of import Dreamcast games from eBay.
You, Michael, don't you have some article on like why the Dreamcast was important?
I do.
I got in an argument on Twitter with ye old Shane Patterson, former Games Radar editor. I'd face it, the Dreamcast sucks. I'm like, no, and I just couldn't formulate why at the moment. But that's why you and Christian
what
are
was his
here.
rationale for saying
He's like,
it sucks?
so glad I waited for the PS2. Like,
Well, if you waited for the PS2,
You missed out on 2 years of awesome games.
yeah.
PS2 was like
Congratulations.
amazing eventually, but it wasn't amazing to start.
Yeah,
for fuck's sake.
Yes.
It was a terrible launch. I remember actually.
Yeah, the launch was awful.
Yeah.
I shout out to Sam Bishop. He was the PS2 editor at Gamers.com. And one day Shane Bettenhausen and I ganged up on him. and I talked about how much the PS2 sucked until he got pissed off and stormed out of the office and come back for 45 minutes. Those were the days.
I was very happy with. That was the only system I had. I wasn't interested in the PS2, or was the GameCube even announced when the Dreamcast
It was
did
the
it?
Dolphin.
It was
The
the
Dolphin
Dolphin
at the
still
time?
at the time.
I don't know.
Space World 2000 was when they first showed the GameCube.
God, look at you guys. What happened to Space World?
They stopped having it after 2000.
Damn it, Dreamcast.
They went out on a big.
Yeah, that was
the year of the Zelda Link.
That was the year of the playable GBA for the first time, and then they announced GameCube as well, the same thing.
Big Nintendo show that's no more.
I never thought about that until you just said that. I wanted to go to Space World.
Space World Shoshinkai.
I was so jealous. Actually, Shane got to go to Space World.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I was so jealous.
We'll be talking about Shane a little later.
Then I'm going to Japan for Tokyo Game Show in 2 weeks. It'll be my 15th trip, so who's
Jesus.
jealous now?
God damn.
Wow, that's 15 more than I've had.
It's a 1,500% increase.
Oh, well, in 2000, when I was here, I went...
Like a week long.
this has really become the show about me. Are you sure you want to do this?
I just like reminiscing.
No, I went for like the Virtua Fighter 5 OXM cover. I went for Devil May Cry World
Cry, that was it.
exclusive. I went for
TGS06.
TGS06 with Michael.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was a great week.
yeah,
Had no appointments.
I know. It
Really?
worked out real well.
Yeah, well, we'd like gone with a week, thinking, okay, we'll make all these appointments, and then we ended up not having to meet with anybody. So we had a week free to like hang out with all the Ziff Davis people.
I don't want to hear how this used to be.
It was actually, it's really unpredictable, TGS. You have to book out the week, and some years it fills up and some years it doesn't.
Well, we might as well move into the top 7 Dreamcast
Well, did we want
games.
to continue on the topic of why Dreamcast did matter?
Yeah, well,
since we were on that.
I thought it mattered because, I don't know, it kept...
It was a leap above the PlayStation
Yes.
1.
Yeah.
Nice leap. 3D on PlayStation 1 and even to some extent the N64 was pretty lame.
Yeah, I was describing it to Michael, I think yesterday, about the reason I felt was N64 and PS1 both had like an asterisk next to their 3D worlds. It was like, it does 3D worlds. N64, big asterisk, blurry, grainy, bad audio, and PlayStation was, this game will look like shit in 1 year, and Dreamcast came, and it was like the first time the phrase like next gen experience ever mattered or meant anything. It was like, wow, this doesn't look like a pile of balls. It looks pretty good, and it came with all these features like a modem, and it was like Sega rising from its own ashes and delivering a good
product.
product.
I used that in my feature. I thought it was a pretty good point. That it was the first system to not have any caveats. That,
yes.
Like up until then, people were kind of used to. It's like, well, there were some sacrifices here, and that was the first console to not have any sacrifices.
Yeah. It ultimately felt like a half step.
Yeah, in
when
terms
PS2 caught up to it, it was like
Just like the PS3 now, they wanted to add in certain functionality at a loss of some of the gaming functionalities. The PS2 came out with 2 controller ports and 0 online support. All that shit was standard in a tiny, tiny Dreamcast.
Yeah, the Dreamcast had, it wasn't ideal, but it was also just so small and nice.
Mm-hmm.
You just got this feeling of like ultra slickness when you bought it,
Yeah.
which probably wouldn't be communicated to people who aren't, look at pictures online and never really played it. But when you got it, it was like this little tiny dynamo of a system.
it's also Sega's first white console, so it felt really strange.
Well, Japanese Saturn.
Well, yeah. A U.S. audience then would see. It was just strange to see. You always associated Nintendo with gray or white and Sega with black, and then now that was a big thing for me because I obsess over that.
All right, does anybody want to hear this while we're doing this? When was the last time you heard that noise?
Earlier this week.
Oh yeah, that's right. Everybody's working on Dreamcast
today.
features.
Yeah. But moving into the top 7, a little later than normal.
A little later than normal.
Yeah.
Top 7 Dreamcast.
Best Dream games.
Yes, Dreamcast games. I at the very beginning, you
Time.
What did you say? Marvel vs. Capcom 2 almost made it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was so almost about it?
Well, there's one guy who said on a comment, left a comment on a site, not ours, saying, really, trying to nail down the absolute best games for a system that's been officially dead since 2001 is tougher than you might think, quoting the article. No, it's not. If anything, it's difficult to create a top 10 without leaving out a number of great games. Well, that's actually what I meant when I wrote that. It's difficult because it's like you pitch what you think are the 7 best, and someone else comes up with their 7 best, and they're completely different, but these are all things that are like really strong candidates, and it's like, well,
I like how he had
okay,
the most
that stuff
negative
deserves-
possible interpretation of your statement.
Yeah. No, it's ever since. Yeah.
Please understand, I had Michael on the ropes with Virtua Tennis for a while.
Virtua Tennis was so goddamn good. That's when I worked at gamers.com, so we had no shortage of people who just want to sit around and play Virtua Tennis all the time. So we every day.
I don't know what it was. It was infinitely playable with
perfectly-
everybody.
It was super simple, but it was like had enough nuance that it was entertaining to play. So you just would fucking play it all.
What
the
about
time.
Wii Tennis?
What about it?
Like all the thing. Whenever someone talks about Virtua Tennis, the terms they use are usually the same that everyone was using in 06 to describe Wii Tennis.
I would
wonder
say
how that
is that there's the buttons are different strokes, lobs, whatever. But you could kind of get better with the strategy of Virtua Tennis without noticing. Like we would play one another, and then eventually, without ever reading what the controls were, we would discover new things on how to get better with the controls, and it just kept escalating. Like I have no interest in tennis or people who like it. But I played a lot of Virtua Tennis with a lot of different people we had this giant gaming den where it was like Counter-Strike, MVC2. And then all of a sudden, Virtua Tennis would unite everybody together.
Yeah, we also looked at things like Crazy Taxi, MDK2,
MDK2.
Like these were all like candidates on the list at one point.
Crazy
or
Taxi I
another.
played so much. I remember not thinking that I would.
it's pretty ridiculous.
I didn't think I would really get into it. In fact, I rented it because I wasn't sure I would like it.
Did you not get it like immediately? I remember it didn't click with me at all.
I got it pretty fast. I mean, I rented it and I started playing it, and then just like I don't know, like a whole weekend went by. And I'm just like, I've been playing Crazy Taxi. It's not like that large of a game, and
No, it's just
it's so addictive.
It's
keep
the-
trying to get a little
It's that
bit
same
better
thing
every
of
time.
it's an arcade game that makes you compulsively want to keep playing, but then it was no more. You don't have to keep paying $1 every time, so it was like, oh, I can shave a couple of seconds off that. And
I was done with arcades at the time, but just Crazy Taxi. The first time I played it, I played for 30 seconds. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Then you kind of notice, oh man, I just played for 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh shit, I just played for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I keep racking up time. You kept getting increments of time as you did well.
Yeah. But number 7 on the list that did make
that took
it
forever.
Yeah, that did make it was already kind of a controversial, but I felt a necessary choice to make.
I thought you justified it.
Yeah, I think I did. Sonic Adventure 2.
Sonic Adventure 2.
That's a good game.
Not 1 because
1 doesn't hold up as well. I think 2 holds up a lot better. 1 is very scattershot, and as we make the point here, it doesn't deliver enough "oh shit" moments, and delivers like too many "oh shit" moments.
yeah.
You were right, only because you mentioned the Tails and Robotnik shooting stuff.
That's in Sonic Adventure.
I
2.
know that was, but I backed out of Adventure 2 because of the Knuckles rogue digging parts.
Yeah, those were kind of a pain. I didn't mind those so much. I know a lot of people did.
Most of them were quick, and there was this one I got stuck on, and I one of those screaming moments at my television. I didn't sign up for this.
Well, I was playing Sonic Adventure 2 for something else like a couple weeks ago, and just started with one of the.
He works at Games Radar.
Yeah, I do work at Games Radar.
Oh, okay. That somehow explains that.
That's for some other feature. I've already forgotten what it was. But
Missiles.
yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah,
History
the
of missile rides.
But
There
yeah,
it
I got
is.
to the first Knuckles stage. It was like, oh god, I forgot these. These are horrible. Oh, it's over already. Okay, that's not so bad.
The thing is, that far ago, we were, what we thought was long or tedious is nothing compared to, every game that comes out now.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Where it takes you, 4 hours before you're like, oh, I know how to play this now.
And I kind of hate it.
Especially when it comes to Sega, the last Sonic game. Oh, that's what tedium smells like.
Yeah. The thing about Adventure 2, wasn't it announced or at least released after we knew the system was dead?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the system was killed in March 2001, and I think most of the best games for it came out after that.
Because that was like a summer 01 game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I remember going
early. It was January, wasn't it?
No, it was.
No, it was after the news, and I remember looking at reviews, and people were saying "Oh well, if this is the Dreamcast's last hurrah, then it's a good one. The system's going out with a bang." It's like, well, you got another 6 months of games ahead.
It was 8 months later. It came on the Cube.
Yeah, it was like a year later. Well, they did Sonic Adventure DX, and they did Sonic Adventure 2 Battle.
Right.
Battle came out first, though, didn't it?
I think it did. Yeah.
But
which is a weird. Another reason I feel bad for the Dreamcast is because all of its best games ended up getting ported over to consoles that lived
and did work.
And
or they
usually,
got sequels.
or they got sequels, and sometimes the ports were just really crap. like the Grandia 2 port from
That's terrible, yeah.
and it was awful. I'm like, that was one of my favorite games of that entire era. And PS2, the system with an immeasurably larger base gets a shit version. So now, how many people played it and were like, God, forget this piece of crap.
I remember the issues about reviewing that game because I didn't review it, but Shane did, and like
Sonic 2?
no, Grandia 2
Grandia.
on PS2, and we had to have this discussion over like if this game is so fucking terrible on the system, you have to give it like a really bad score. It's a really bad version, but
Yeah.
you felt really guilty about it because it's a good game at its core.
Yeah.
But I remember Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, or not Battle, the original version, Sonic Adventure 2 for Dreamcast. They had Yuji Naka came to America and signed games at a software etc. in the South Bay.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I went to that.
I think I read that it was the first game developed here in San Francisco.
It was developed by that was Sonic Team USA,
Yeah.
which was the team they had founded that did a lot of the 3D Sonic games. I don't know what's left of them, if anything, at this point. But yeah, there was a team here.
But I do have their legacy, famous from other podcasts of your. This is Knuckles rapping about himself.
Cleanse yourself with the evil spirits that's in you. Streaking lights, loud sounds, and instincts.
God damn it.
We didn't discuss the Sonic 2 soundtrack.
We did.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
I was thinking about this actually while we were talking about this level. I was thinking about how there was all these rap playing. That was more like a rap and R&B.
That
was a smooth.
That was a little bit of Usher.
Smooth
Usher
joint.
Donia. Yeah, that's stupid.
I'm not sure if it was better or worse than the first game's soundtrack.
That's what we
Which
discovered
had the
when
themed songs for each
Shit,
character.
was it like 40 something where we did like the shittiest rap songs in games?
Yeah.
Every single Sonic game, somebody raps as Knuckles in first person, and the voice is always different. And there's that one song that starts off, Echidona! I'm like, is that where he's from? Like, I don't.
Oh,
Is that
how
him
that guy
mispronouncing?
said
Oh, that no,
Echidna.
it's supposed to be Echidna in
Japanese,
Japanese.
yeah.
It's Echidna.
Echidna.
Yeah.
Echidna. But also this, because we're gonna light on the news. They announced a new HD Sonic 2D.
It's actually not HD anywhere in that trailer.
They said HD, and when they were talking in an interview with GameSpot.
Right.
And HD. I mean, I don't know why we'd assume it's not going to be HD on next gen consoles.
Well, because it could be.
Like Rockman 9 or Mega Man 9 type situation.
Yeah, it could be one of those things
I see what you're
where
saying.
it's like, yeah, it's HD, but can you really tell? Kind
Well,
of.
we were talking about this before the podcast a little bit, and it's like trying to figure out who's developing it because they haven't said, right?
Yeah, I don't think so.
And it's like,
Oh, you don't think it's Sonic Team?
well, even if it is, that's not that exciting a prospect anymore.
Okay, good point.
But it could be, like Backbone again, not that exciting prospect, or maybe Way Forward. Brett was saying, which is
Here's-
more exciting prospect.
Here's
Yeah.
what I don't think you
I
realize.
don't think it's realistic.
This
but-
is an all-new adventure built from the ground up.
Yeah, what?
As opposed to last time.
Yeah,
Last
wait,
time
wait, wait.
We
So-
found 30% of the
I
game.
did not
The
finish.
last time it was actually built from the ceiling down.
This is this is a return to form.
Uh huh.
I've never heard this before.
Yeah, I know. But I just love. There was an actual interview on GameSpot with what's his name, Ken Lau, Sega of America president. Many liked the daytime stages in Unleashed. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't even mention the Werehog stages. Did you actually play those?
No, I only played the demo on
Jesus
PlayStation
Christ.
3.
They're awful.
They're really awful. So we wanted to bring the games back to that, and I thought this question was unintentionally hilarious because everything else it was very kind to Sonic. Over the past 19 years, asked GameSpot, Sonic has been in a variety of different games, some of which were a bit of a stretch. Were there any that didn't happen because they were a little too out there? Ken Blue, not to my knowledge. We did everything we possibly could do with Sonic.
There were no ideas left
my knowledge.
alone.
Yeah.
Somebody said, let's have him fight a Black Knight, and they're like, okay, let's work a magic carpet in there.
You know what this quick hedgehog needs? A sword.
You know what he needs?
And a
I
car.
forgot that happened.
A
Yeah.
car. Well, what's
A
weird is
car.
both the Ring one. What was the first Wii one
Secret
called?
Rings?
Secret
Secret
Ring
Ring.
and the Black Knight are both branded as like Sonic Tales kind of thing, like Sonic Fairy Tale series.
Are they?
Yeah, Black Knight actually has a badge that's like the Sonic Fairy Tale series, which you would
It's
think
different from Chronicles.
you would think means they're going to do more with like every fairy tale or
So like it's gonna be like Sonic and Sleeping Beauty or something.
yeah, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Where like when I looked on the back of Nintendo Power, like the ad on the back, I was like, wow, that looks stupid. And then I see in the background is Knuckles in a full suit of armor that's molded to look like his stupid head, and I'm like,
Cleanse yourself with the evil spirits that's in you.
That's Knuckles.
Yo, I got an order to put into the blacksmith. Can you make it like
That is
this?
Knuckles.
Can you make it with all these 4 to 5 degrees?
Is it like that movie Black Knight that came out? in
It's
the 90s?
just, it's exactly like that, actually. I think
These
that movie
emeralds
is...
are made of chaos, yo.
I mean, are we acknowledging? Is everyone finally going to acknowledge that Knuckles is black? I mean, he's red, but
Wait
I
a
mean,
minute. Hold on.
Streaking lights.
All right, I think I see it.
They just won't say it, and he has Lego shoes.
Okay, we should move on to the next entry.
Oh, you should. Which is NFL.
Before let me ask beforehand.
Oh, man, I know.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you ready for some football? A Monday night party.
All right, gross.
no, I'm not. To answer your
Hold-
question,
Oh, apparently none of us were.
Yeah, this was. I wrote most of this top 7, except for 2 entries. This was one of the ones I didn't write. It was actually written by Eric Bratcher, who's one of the only people on our staff who actually enjoys and appreciates sports games.
He is actually...
He is actually.
Are you ready?
Where's the...
Are you ready for some football?
someone messed up a transition.
Nobody else was.
Where's the just push and it goes?
That was in the Madden cast. I didn't think we'd ever see the ready for some football sound effect again.
I know. Oh, well.
But now that we're all. Okay.
That man's voice makes me laugh.
Hank Williams.
Always.
All right, so yeah, I mean, this was one I personally couldn't care about, but I recognize its significance and its contribution to football, and that it was an awesome game if you can stand sports.
Well, I
games.
remember what I always remember about it, that I was at E3 and I was like standing across the like Sega booth, which was then like ginormous,
Right.
from wherever, just looking across at the screens, and I saw a football game on. I'm like, what? Like, I thought it was a televised football game. I turned around and then I turned back and it was NFL 2K1.
Yes.
And I was like, shit.
Yeah,
Like, they really.
yeah, that was the
Yeah.
first game that the animations from a distance you would mistake for an actual game. And I know, looking back on it now, it's like, why would you ever think that's a game? Because it's been 10 years and they look immeasurably better, but like walking through the mall, and I walked by a Babbage's at the time, which is now a game.
Visually, there's an
game
incredible
store.
Everything's
evolution.
GameStop.
I put a 989 game next to the NFL
Yeah.
2K series, and holy shit!
It was just the kind of game that wrapped up that whole. This is not the same shit you've been playing for 8 years, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, this is fresh and new and clean, and it's clear, and I can see what's happening.
and the online aspect. Do you remember why EA was so reluctant to go online? Like, it took them forever.
Oh, yeah.
well,
with
EA avoided the
PS2
Dreamcast
eventually.
to get all
Oh,
together.
No, there was still.
No, they.
There was no Madden on the Dreamcast.
There was
No,
never
that
Madden
was
on
that
the
was part of the reason the 2K series mattered so much.
Oh, that's
They
right.
announced
did compete.
specifically that they would never support the Dreamcast. Like, they had an announcement like, like a
basically
news story.
because Sega wouldn't give them exclusive rights to make sports games on the console.
That's what Bernie Stoller said. We actually put up a story on Wednesday on Gama Sutra with a lot of fresh interviews, talked to people who were involved. Bernie Stoller was at the time the president, I guess, of Sega of America, and
Sounds right.
and he says that he was in charge. I think he was the president, and he said that EA wanted the rights to have no competition, internal or external, for sports games on the Dreamcast, or they wouldn't support it.
Why would you ask? Why would you ask that?
Do
So
you
you
think
can make
if,
a lot of money.
I
you
know,
think
but
if
like,
they
what
would've, though-
other console gave them besides the Genesis? Gave them that?
Well, Genesis didn't have that, but actually a lot of people bought Joe Montana for a little while. But then
Is that EA?
No, Joe Montana was Sega's.
was
Yeah.
Sega, and that's the thing is Sega kind of built part of its attitude off the back of the sports angle.
Yeah.
with Genesis.
EA was, and the Genesis were like went
Yeah.
hand in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Do you think? I mean, this is a question that's probably been posed to death at this point, but since we're all here, what difference would it have made if EA had Madden, or if Madden was on Dreamcast? Like in the U.S., do you think that would have?
I don't know
Done
if it would
enough.
have, because I don't know that it would have, because the thing is that everyone switched over to buying 2K. Like they
Yeah,
sold
that's true.
over a million copies of all the 2K sports
That's true.
games.
So
for the
they were on
Dreamcast
they
until-
were on slightly even footing for a little while.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
That's what-
comparatively.
that's
to,
I
like-
had no access.
I mean,
to
that's what
numbers.
ultimately
I was a young boy.
when Dreamcast died and the 2K series continued, and then they put out 2K5 was $20 at launch.
yeah.
EA bought the NFL license exclusively.
And the ESPN. I think that
And
2K
the
bought the ESPN
and the ESPN
shell.
license. So then EA was like, it was literally 2K was now starting to get, they were eating away at Madden very slowly, and it was clear if this trend continued, there would be a serious problem. So they just bought the license.
Oh, they threw the money at it.
Hooray, competition!
I wouldn't know enough to say if they are or aren't.
Yeah, you know what? They're all good.
Yes.
Yeah, they're all the best game ever.
And everyone stopped listening to the podcast because we're
Oh,
talking
no.
about football. So
How did
let's
that
move on to number 5, which everyone loves. Skies of Arcadia, I believe is what it's
Skies
called.
of Arcadia. What a beautiful game.
That game, it's funny to talk about Dreamcast games, like, for people who didn't play them. Like, Skies of Arcadia was the first, like, full 3D RPG that made you feel like you were immersed in this world. It was beautiful. Like, it was... The story was pretty typical, but the characters were really likable inside this typical story. But I just remember being, like... There's this dungeon a few hours in, and you're walking through this, like, crumbled up sort of area. It's like, sort of like a shrine or a temple or whatever. And there's these holes in the floor, and there's light shining up as lightning flashes.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, I can't believe I'm playing this fucking game. This is blowing my fucking mind. Like, up until then, like, RPGs were either, like, like Final Fantasy on PS1 rendered backgrounds with 3D characters on top, or they were, like, Xenogears, like, 3D world with little sprite characters on it. There was nothing, just like a full 3D game. Like, the idea of full 3D games that were all 3D, everything was built to scale and looked, like, great and, like, human size and everything. It was, like, something that we didn't really have on consoles till Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Aha! That's what a Dreamcast matters.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because even like when you think like Mario 64 was a 3D world, but everything was distorted and stylized. And,
Yeah.
I mean,
Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Also, Resident
That's
Evil
true.
Code Veronica, first fully 3D Resident Evil.
Yeah,
that's
true.
pretty significant.
Yeah, I mean, it was, but just playing, an RPG that had this whole huge, colorful, exciting, vibrant world. Skies Arcadia was like, I couldn't get over it.
That was the world I wanted to play in.
always
the colorful, not entirely fantasy. I love being in the sky. I love airships of any kind. I don't know.
How did the GameCube port of this fare?
It's a good port. I think I can't remember exactly, but I think they decreased the encounter frequency. It's got random battles. They're pretty frequent.
That's why I couldn't get into this. Like, I actually tried, because I'd heard how great it was, and I just finished Grandia 2 and loved the crap out of it and wanted something more, and then I literally quit playing Skies because of all the battles.
It's got tons of random battles.
I couldn't deal with it.
But the other thing with the GameCube port is that the music is slightly lower quality on the GameCube, so it's a good soundtrack.
Luckily, you're hearing the Dreamcast version of the soundtrack right now.
Oh, it's playing right now.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Oh.
Hey, listen to that.
That is music.
The chord progression, and
I actually went to the trouble. That game came out in that was like towards the end of when I worked at Gamers.com. We got laid off in January 2001, and that was like a November 2000 game.
That's
So I made my friend John Riccardi, who moved to Tokyo in December 2000, actually buy me the soundtrack, which was only available from Sega's Direct website, Dreamcast Direct. Like there wasn't sold in the stores.
The 2-disc one.
Yeah,
I got that today. Want it?
I have it.
He just told a story about how he had
Look,
it.
I'm just saying. I wouldn't charge that much. I have to get a licensing fee across. Okay. We can go into the next entry, which was, oh my god!
Jet Set Radio!
God, I love that music so much.
Or Jet Grind Radio, as it was called in the
we
States
knew
for
here.
whatever weird reason.
That's what I was going to ask. Why that change?
It
in
was
the
some
name?
legal reason that no one really knows.
Yeah,
Like
then the sequel was Jet Set Radio Future. So they changed it
yeah,
back.
but they promote it with JSRF as the logo, so I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know. Everyone sort of knew it was for some legal reason, but no one knew what the legal reason was.
I just want to say this is one of my favorite games of all time. If this
Wow.
had been purely Michael's top 7, then this would have been number 1 easily.
All right, I'm with you.
But yeah, I
first
thought it was
instance of-
amazing when it came out.
The first instance of cell shading.
The first really significant one. I mean,
Okay.
Fear Effect had done it before. I think a couple other PlayStation.
But they didn't
games
use the
maybe.
hard outline for the full cartoon
There
effect.
were some PlayStation 1 games that used. I can't remember off the top of my head.
like the Chorro-Q. Did those have cell
Auto
shading?
Modelista.
Oh yeah, that thing.
But yeah, no.
that
This
PS2.
was also an example of just like a game that was just super creative on every front.
Yeah.
That was what the Dreamcast really had. I think what
Yeah.
it had was this blend of like traditional games, like arcade games that were awesome.
Yeah.
Like it had this super creative, original, interesting, fun, excellent games. Sega as a developer, I mean,
Still trying.
was firing on all fronts. The teams were pumping out great games.
Yeah.
The thing on the Dreamcast is it was only, end to end, like production cycle was November 98 in Japan
Yeah.
till March 2001 in America. That's not a long time, yet we have this library of huge games. Like, we're talking about the PlayStation 2 wasn't a competitor, its first year was crap. Like, this is a system that really
bad.
only had a first year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yet we have all these amazing
we
memories.
have enough to make a top 7 extremely difficult.
Yeah, and I think Jet Grind Radio is just emblematic of that period in Sega's design, where it's like it's not only really creative and really interesting, but it's also incredibly fun.
Yeah.
And they just nailed every
was like
aspect
this
of it, and
perfect-
that was what they were just they had a streak going for a while of games that did this.
It worked like what? Like Sega restructured all of its teams, broke them off into different groups, renamed them all different.
Yeah, all the teams had
this
like
team.
their own identity.
Yeah, and then you got the result was like it felt like there was no one to tell anyone no. Only in a good way for once. Like there was no one to go, that idea is too crazy, it'll never sell. It's like, I want a game, cel shaded skaters, just writing graffiti with stormtrooper guys running after you. Can I make that? Yes. And it's awesome.
They're like, fuck it, we have to try whatever
Yeah,
works.
I want to make a game about a monkey swinging maracas. Can I do it? Yes. And they just go, every idea, yes, yes. And then ultimately,
Yeah, and this also reminds me of one thing that I wish I'd included in the reasons the Dreamcast was different or mattered is that ironically the collapse of it was probably the best thing that happened to a lot of Dreamcast fans, because I was able to go out bargain hunting every weekend.
man.
I built a huge library buying stuff new off the shelves that was marked down because the thing was discontinued.
Yep.
And like Jet Grind Radio, $10 a year after release, which was a shame.
yeah, it's sad,
But
I went from having 10 games that I paid full price for to I had 30 by the time it was over.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know that's...
so yeah, I
But
think-
all those games are like $8 each.
Yeah,
And it's
but
like,
I think
I don't
that's
care.
another
Hidden and
reason-
Dangerous, I'll take it. I
Yeah.
don't care. $8.
it's another reason it's so beloved is because people were able to build up these massive
That's true. Everyone was
libraries of
able to
really
really
great
taste
games for cheap.
a lot of
Yeah,
it.
like
But
shit
also-
like Deep Fighter and Mars Matrix and all these
But-
like weird shooter games where you're like, I
But also part of
couldn't
it's-
pay $50.
part of
Cannon
it-
Spike.
Cannon Spike.
Part of its charm was being exclusive to that console. I can't remember what was bad about Jet Set Radio Future, but it didn't. It got
didn't quite
lost
have
in the
the same
shuffle of
charm,
Xbox.
yeah.
Did it? I mean, that was probably part of it, right?
It was like it had less personality. It was just kind of, it took a step back. Everything felt a little smaller somehow.
Would you say, is that one of the first games to have like a warning disclaimer about the content of the game?
Yeah, it was sort of controversial a little
Oh,
bit
right.
about
Yeah.
graffiti.
Yeah.
Promoting
It was,
graffiti.
Giant, just you cannot
There
do
was
this
a lot
anywhere
of
else.
news about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
there was at the time they had to add the disclaimer to the U.S. version. I can't remember everything because God, this is a long time ago. But I was at that time I was reporting this news like on Gamers.com. There was controversy about that for
You
sure.
plug that so much. I'm totally going there when this is over.
Oh, don't because
Gamers.com.
it's not there anymore.
Oh man.
I mean, it exists, but it's just it's like syndicated some crappy content from God knows where.
Who has videogames.com now?
GameSpot still has it. If you go there, it just redirects.
Ah. All right.
No, I think
wanted to
the URL's
buy
taken by 2009.
Well, they used to be video games.
It's a shame that that's what it was. And for some reason, they decided videogames.com. That's too hard to remember. We'll be GameSpot. So
How much longer will they call these video games? All right, give me
There'll
one
be
second.
interactive entertainment before you know it.
Before, I did love one of the most beautiful points you made to me in this entry was a little shout out to the Warriors with the DJ that guided the Underground Mayhem, and just a quick clip of Professor K.
Yeah, we're riding high in a smooth stream of supersonic sound. And I'm your captain and DJ, Professor K. Jet Set Radio.
My fucking. Oh, I
Yeah,
lost.
also one of the best soundtracks of any game.
Quite
yeah,
good.
it
And
was so innovative.
I
like
hadn't heard Dragula enough by that point, so
That was Future. I think.
They have
No, it
Chibo
was
Mato
in-
on the
it
first
was in the-
soundtrack.
they had Jurassic 5 in the Dreamcast one.
yeah.
They had a Jurassic 5 to the US.
Is it a
version.
Chibo Mato song? Am I making that up?
I tend to get Future and the original mixed up in my head sometimes.
Alright.
I think that was in Future.
Am I mistaken to say that like that style of music and that delivery was that the first game that really embraced it? Like I can't
Like techno urban.
yeah, I can't imagine. I can't think of anything else. Well, as the technology really wasn't there to do that kind of delivery.
Well, you know, on the CD system, like on PlayStation 1, there were some games that had like full CD soundtracks and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously there was like Parappa that had
yeah, that's
hip hop
true.
and stuff.
I guess maybe.
But I mean, it did feel like
it felt more cultured or something.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
there was a
culturally
meaning here.
relevant,
Yeah.
culturally aware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to pinpoint what genre of music you'd call that, and I'm fucking baffled. 'Cause
And the
it's not
thing
really
that's crazy
hip-hop.
about it is that it was all done by an internal guy at Sega. They didn't get like
What?
some external guy. Yeah, he did the soundtrack for Sonic Rush for DS.
Oh, badass soundtrack.
It's the same guy, Hideki Naganuma. He's
You're right,
super
that's right.
awesome.
Yeah.
man, I
he
was
did,
gonna look it up and look
Humming the
smart.
bass line, which is the character
You are
select
right.
screen music is fantastic.
No, actually, Sonic Rush was in that article. Written so many video game music articles in 3 months alone, but it was like 17 soundtracks ahead of their time, and Sonic Rush to me was very much one of those. A DS game. What? With this amazing... Oh, it's the Jet Set Radio guy. Got it. Thinks you tough, eh? Ryo Hazuki from Sukaha. My face is a rectangle.
Yeah,
These ears are textures. Clearly.
Oh god, we can't let you intro Shenmue.
Number 3.
When we have
We have a great man to do that for us.
we have a great man who will tell us all about Shenmue. What is his name? Fucking Zozak?
Shenmue 1, 2. Cost Sega about $1 billion, and they only sold about like 20,000 copies.
I love this man. All he does is review like old Japanese and Dreamcast games in a wonderful accent.
Redneck accent.
Plan D travels all the way from China in his black car for the Phoenix Mirror. Ryle sees his father get killed. His father has some dying words for him. He tells him to keep his friends close.
Yes.
Well, he says no.
Cannot stress the importance of keeping your friends close. Friends close. That's pretty accurate.
Is that intentional, or is that? I mean, is that a piss take, or is that
long.
real?
It's long, so if it's
It's
a joke,
3 parts, 10 minutes long.
Because it's kind of this weird. It's like like Larry the Cable Guy reviews Shenmue. It's like
which are two things.
Hold on.
Keep his
Can anyone
friends
remember the woman's name? His semi-love interest?
Nozomi.
Zomi.
Now here's Ryle's woman, Nozomi. One time Nozomi's in the park and she almost gets raped by 2 thugs. Then Ryle comes to save the day. Tells her pretty much she's a dumb woman for walking outside. Stay inside, you won't have no trouble. You're gonna have to take care of yourself one of these days, 'cause I'm going to Hong Kong.
Oh my god!
He summarizes the entire game.
Before Christian digs too much into it, I did research, and yeah, it's fake. It's some guy from shmups.org. I really wanted it to be real so bad.
It's so good.
So bad.
But we haven't really said, in case anyone didn't know, what Shenmue is.
What the fuck is Shenmue?
What is? It's a
Help me
great
out.
walking simulator.
Yeah, it's
It is sort
it's
of the,
number 3 on our list.
Well,
Yeah. Wait. There you go.
my only memories are walking through. At the time, was a pretty cool, realistic depiction of what I imagine Japan to look like.
which it is, in fact.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
It looks like Japan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, the
I
game
mean, now-
set in real world Japan looks
yeah,
like Japan.
yeah. Now having been there, I can reconnect those memories and be like, that was pretty nice.
There
but
was no neon water slides?
no.
No?
There was a cat in a box I pet, and then every door I knocked on was perhaps they're out. Perhaps they're out. Off. Marvel vs. Capcom. There you go.
Excuse me, do you know where sailors hang out?
I know where the water
Where
is.
can I find sailors?
As much
Quick
as
time event.
I will.
It was a super ambitious game that didn't
Yes.
get it right.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even play it that much, and I was the Dreamcast editor, for God's sake.
I definitely
But it
tip
was
my
really
hat.
good.
Was it really good?
It was really good, yeah.
The people who
I
actually
really enjoyed it.
all the people I know who actually
Yeah.
played Shenmue all the way really like it, but everyone I know, the greater proportion of them were like, yeah, I tried it. There was some
Yeah.
walking and a cat in a box. Kind of like you were.
It's a very nice
And
cat.
I actually imported the Japanese version because I was all over Japanese imports, and I tried to play it in Japanese, and actually I got okay far in, and my Japanese wasn't very good then, but
Also, everyone loves the vending
but I
machines.
still quit.
What?
I said also, everyone loves the...
Wow, it's
vending
a double
machines.
burp.
Yeah.
the beer is getting to us.
The double ending?
The vending machine.
The vending machine. Your picture of that
Little
is fucking
capsule
awesome.
toys.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he's addicted to capsule.
You
toys.
you can just do that over and over and over again. And he's like, maybe I should try again. Maybe I should try
But so
again.
what is the game is literally
Huh?
like a life story kind of thing. It's a revenge
Well,
tale.
there's fighting.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like it's a revenge
I
story.
think I personally forget that all the time in Shenmue, that there is any fisticuffs.
Yeah, and not only that, but it's not just the God of War style QuickTime events. It's also they have kind of a clunky Virtua Fighter style system built in that was actually pretty fun.
Altogether, it was just a really ambitious game that
Yeah. He tried to
Was-
recreate like a slice of Japan
it's hard to tell
with
people
arcades
that like
and shops. And,
again, this was like the first game that looked like walking around in reality
That's
to
true.
any appreciable extent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
that was like built like you're walking through a town that's built on like a 1-to-1 scale.
Yeah.
Like, you know, this is before GTA 3. So
Yeah, there's a bus line, and it runs on the actual in-game schedule.
Oh god,
So
this
like you
sounds
have
fun.
to wait like 15 seconds for the bus to show
Oh man,
up.
waiting.
yeah, it had a lot of problems that they didn't solve adequately, but it did a lot of really innovative things that no other games really did for a couple more years after it came out.
Yeah.
So
Well-
then what happened with Shenmue 2 when it finally came on Xbox?
Nobody cared.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is,
We
Shenmue
learned our
2
lesson.
Was it planned as 4 games? Do I remember?
I can't remember how many. It was several.
It's 3, I thought.
I think
Yeah.
3.
I think 17 was the final
But
number.
yeah, well, one thing that occurred to me was I don't know if you guys remember, but like when they were showing Grand Theft Auto 4 to us just before it came out, they were saying like that they get letters saying like, oh, you should make it so that the game like reads off the internet what gas prices are, and that's reflected in the gas stations. Like, would that actually be fun?
Dude, cops should pull you over for like minor traffic
But
infractions.
Shenmue was a game where they said that, and then they's like, okay, let's put that in the game.
Yeah.
That's where you see
And it's
some
like
guy who
everything. It's like you should have to wait for the bus. Okay, you should have to pay for food. Okay.
the overwhelming customer review was saying "wow" through a frown. Wow. Yeah. Can't believe they went there.
I know it was. Actually, the funny thing is that Shenmue 2 came out for Dreamcast in Japan and Europe, but not in America because there was some sort of it got announced for America. And I actually went to Sega's offices and played the English Dreamcast version.
Wow.
I wrote like a 2-page preview up for EGM.
Wow.
And then
they kill it.
they killed it. And the theory was that Microsoft paid money to get it on Xbox, which turned
Right.
into a pointlessness.
Huge waste of time.
Because everyone who actually cared enough about Shenmue 2 to play it just bought the European Dreamcast version.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was, like 10,000 people or something.
Well,
Right.
I bought the Xbox version and I tried to play it, and I'm just like, this is horrible. It just
The game?
it looked really dated by that point. Number
Yeah.
one, and
But it looked fucking mind-blowing. I remember when I played
Just-
it at Sega,
yeah.
I was like, holy crap, when you walk into Hong Kong.
but like just the first chapter, like asking every endless person on the street is like, hello, can you tell me how to get to Wanzai? Wanzai? Yes, Wanzai. Oh, Wanzai is past King's Crossing.
Perhaps
Thank
they're
you.
out. Perhaps they're out.
Now I know how to get to Wanzai.
Just out of curiosity,
Really convincing me.
someone mentioned that as well. Why did something like Panzer Dragoon skip the Dreamcast entirely?
It's a weird... It's hard to say because Sega had this propensity for always making the wrong decision somehow.
Yeah.
Like, with the Saturn, they
I
decided,
think
you know
they're
what
still
we'll do?
stuck in that problem.
We'll, you know what we'll do with the Saturn? We won't take any of our Genesis hits and make sequels. We think that's like the best possible way to get people interested in the Saturn. We'll just abandon all those franchises. Then with the Dreamcast, they're like, you know all that cool stuff that we actually did in the Saturn that was completely original? How about we just fucking forget about that now?
Yeah.
So they went back, they made Sonic, which there never was a real Sonic game for Saturn, but
Yeah.
they left Panzer Dragoon out to dry.
Balls.
But we did get an Echo the Dolphin.
That's true. Defender of the
Damn it.
future?
That was not
Yeah.
bad.
You did not get rid of the dolphin sound effect.
Oh, no, I did not. It's still there.
Okay,
It's
good.
Fine.
I
You want
was
to hear it again,
scared.
Christian? Did you hear it the first time?
No.
This is a dolphin. That's Echo.
You got a lion in there?
That's Echo. A line?
A lion?
Echo the Lion?
I'll get him out of there. Oh, no.
Whoa, shit! Put him back in.
Don't play God with lions and dolphins.
That's my favorite album.
Speaking of playing God, and this is poor transition in number 2 on the top 7 Dreamcast games.
Number 2.
Fantasy Star
Online.
Online.
Christian, you see me looking at you?
Yes, it's funny because I was like the biggest Phantasy Star fanboy on the Genesis, and I spent the whole lifespan of the Saturn, which I loved, waiting for a new Phantasy Star
No
game.
shit, man.
There was, rumors of this game Fantasy Earth, which turned out to be this SRPG called Terra Fantastica, had nothing to do with Phantasy Star. We all went crazy waiting for Phantasy Star, and then they announced Phantasy Star Online. I was like, fuck you! Online games? Those are for assholes! Which is kind of still how I feel. But especially then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the idea of online console
Wait a minute,
did not gel
But
at
you,
all.
have
you didn't
a-
have to play it online then.
But,
Oh, yeah, you
yeah,
did.
yes, you did.
No,
to have
well,
fun with that game.
Yeah, it was a pretty terrible
I
game.
played
to not-
through it on single player before I started going
Oh,
online.
my God.
Before you
will-
started, and you had that whole 5 hours of fun before you...
Well, that explains the scars on
Actually,
your wrists.
I will say the absolute worst thing about that game was in playing online, waiting around in the city for people to fucking go and sort through their inventory. It's like, oh, I need to sell off a bunch of stuff.
Yep.
I need to buy a bunch of stuff. Now I need to sort stuff. Now I need to store it at my house.
Was
You
there
could play with
voice?
slightly
How did you
more
talk to people to let them know?
You had a
You
series
had
of like
two
chat
options.
commands.
Yeah, well, you could use a keyboard, which I actually bought the Dreamcast
I had the
keyboard.
Dreamcast keyboard.
Or you had the just general commands that you pick from a menu, and they translated across all languages, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's kind of
They also
Wow.
had these little emoticons that you could customize.
And they were really customizable. Like you could make these total image macros that were completely original, and you could totally do all these like geometric shapes, and you could make these crazy elaborate macros.
Before I
that were
played
awesome.
this amazing promo for Phantasy Star, my first memory of working with Christian, which was very brief, was him yelling on the phone. It would have been in 2006.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to cancel my Phantasy Star subscription. No, cancel it. Cancel it! Because it sucks!
Yeah, it was for Universe.
That was for Fantasy Star Universe.
That was the best ending to that phone call because it sucks.
Well, yeah, that was the thing. Like, it was an online game, but it had a subscription, and it was on a console.
Yeah.
It was a very
Well,
hard sell, I would
First
think.
one didn't have a subscription. First
Oh.
one was free to play. It
Oh.
wasn't
Yeah.
until version 2 came out that they started charging a
Until
$5
they realized that
monthly
weirdos
fee.
like me were going to play it for 150 hours.
Right.
Then they're like, "Ow."
Actually, I need to go back and I need Sega to explain to me exactly what Phantasy Star was all about.
The whole world. Communication.
Collaboration.
Fighting.
Not fighting.
Light.
Darkness.
Internet. A new world.
In the year 2000, Sega announced that it would, within the year, create a new world. In that virtual world, the Internet. And draw the front line of network gaming for the whole world.
Oh man, that is so 2000.
The music
I love
makes me so nostalgic, though.
In
for
the
game.
in the
Oh my
background,
God.
is it the music from the game?
Yeah.
Oh, the stuff they're saying in the background. Friends, internet, email. things you'll eventually see and are coming to the Dreamcast.
Welcome to the world of Phantasy Star Online. In this network virtual environment, you can take adventures with other people all over the world without ever leaving your home. Yes, you heard us correctly.
Music just makes
We're
me
talking
so
about the world's
goddamn
first
nostalgic.
network multiplayer consumer RPG. The gaming...
Wait, I don't like MMORPG. This is a way worse acronym.
The world's first network multiplayer consumer RPG. The gaming
An MCRPG?
An MCRPG.
I like an MCRPGs actually better than MMORPGs.
MCRPG.
I like Morpig. And the last one I have, I don't remember what it is
Breaker?
because I've been drinking too much.
You can even build a common front in real time with players on the other side of the Earth 20,000 kilometers away. And the world of Fantasy Star Online lasts for eternity.
Does it
Well,
last for an eternity?
About 150 hours in my, which you have to remember, it only had 4 dungeons,
It actually
and I played it for that long.
It actually lasted until April 2007.
Yeah, they
so-
shut down the servers, right?
Yeah.
So what was it, like, why is it on this list? Because my memories of it are grinding and, like, huge time sink, kind of the WoW of its day almost.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, would you put?
It was more fun
you liked
than
them.
WoW was.
That's
It
true.
was an action RPG rather than a click the box.
Right.
Click.
It was
I'm
also
not asking
so
you to tell
super
me, I'm
gorgeous,
just-
actually.
Yeah.
That's true. For the time, it was an amazing looking game.
It was amazing looking. It was, I mean, everyone I played with had keyboards. You know, actually, that game was sort of great / terrible for me in that the last thing I ever did at Gamers.com, and this will close the saga, was we got called into a meeting and I got laid off, and then I went back to my desk and I posted my review of PSO.
Wow.
Man, this is, like, really...
Here we go.
Like a life story for you is the Dreamcast top 7. It's like
And
this entire
that's why
life
it's here.
Yeah.
And then then I went home and played it for a month and a half with all the other people who got laid off. It was beautiful. It
Was there a
oh,
rager
God.
for the layoff of Gamers.com?
We went to Applebee's.
Just out of curiosity,
Wow.
not saying
Blooming
anything.
onions for everybody.
How does it, how was your first layoff from a game?
I was a Barrel of Monkeys. No, it was
Hold on, let me take notes.
really hard. Why, are you looking forward to one or something?
Yeah, I'd really love to be laid off. From
No, I
this
mean,
stuff.
do you need? It was. You know, I was like 23. I was super passionate. I was getting paid next to nothing, but pouring all of my heart, soul, and life into it.
Sounds
You know, I was
familiar.
like, I mean, to review PSO, I was like, no, I mean, I was playing a game, yeah, but I it came in on Saturday and stayed till like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
You know, to do the kind of stuff you do, and
Yeah.
I was completely. It was my whole life revolved around it, and my roommate was Shane Bettenhausen, who later of EGM and etc. and now of Ignition. Like he was there too, so we were like, my roommate also worked there. We were both completely dedicated. We spent all our time and effort on it, and then I got laid off, and I was like, just completely devastated. Then I spent the next couple months, everyone would come over our house every day and play video games. It was not that bad, sort of
have
terrible.
people over, keep friends. Got it.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's ready.
It's no fun, but
It seems like the industry is more stable now than it was. It was a very tumultuous time to be not just in games journalism, but games in general.
Yeah.
With so many people,
Did
major
it seem
hardware
did it seem
developers just disappeared.
Did it seem like more fruitful times then? It looked like there was going to be a 4-console battleground.
It was
6
exciting.
months.
Yeah, I mean, the Xbox One was announced right around the same time the Dreamcast got killed. It was like...
Wait, was it? Was it?
Yeah. Because the Xbox came out in...
November 01.
Yeah, November 01. Like a week after... Was it a week before or after GameCube?
A week after GameCube, I believe.
Yeah.
They were within 7 days of each other.
So, I mean... You knew the GameCube was on the horizon. I remember that my wallpaper on my computer for a while was a picture of GameCube from Space World.
Was it the one with all the girls holding up all the different colors?
It was the 5 different ones arranged like
okay.
There was the 5 different colors.
Crap! We gotta get going. Wow, this is our longest first segment of all time.
Okay, let's do it.
It's all right.
This only happens once ever.
The number one on the top 7 Dreamcast games of all time.
Soul Calibur.
Soul Calibur.
Soul still burns.
Big surprise.
Soul.
Oh my god, though. That game was fucking hot. It was
really
ridiculously fucking hot. I spent so much time. I remember, everything with me and Dreamcast, everything also revolves around Shane. I was at Shane's house in Kentucky before either of us had industry jobs. Just crashing there in the summer with nothing to do, totally unemployed. And Soul Calibur came in the mail from NCS.
Wow.
And we just fucking blew our minds playing Soul Calibur.
It was, and again, the whole kind of, it's a good bookend for the idea of Dreamcast, the first system to deliver this next-gen, quote, experience. Soul Calibur was a launch game, and it blew everything else away. There was no comparison.
It remained the system's best-looking game until... And it was true. It's set the high water mark well into the PS2 generation.
Yeah.
I still remember editorials saying, there is nothing on the PlayStation 2 that looks as good as Soul Calibur. Why do we have this new hardware?
Yeah, Soul Calibur was... And it was so much fun. It was, perfectly...
It was really fun.
I was at a fighting game for a while.
And Maxi. That was just awesome.
That was kind of the first game. That was the first game that got me to skip college.
I skipped college.
It happened in its entirety?
It happened in high school. Well, look, I had a lot. I had four years worth of freshman year, let's say. Yeah, it was one of the first games to make me skip college. First console games, especially, because not to play by myself, but to play with a group of people who were also skipping college.
I played so much Soul Calibur. I played it. I had an import Dreamcast. I was the only person in my circle of friends who had an import Dreamcast, of course, because we were just regular people back then.
Right.
They weren't industry people like all my friends are now.
It's like you listeners.
But, or many of my friends are now. But, no, I bought an import Dreamcast in January of 99, and that came out in July. And it was I had to bring my Dreamcast to everybody's fucking house all the time so we could all play Soul Calibur all the time.
At least it's portable.
Yeah, it was a small-ass console.
I remember my friend's car caught on fire, and I had to move my car because I was afraid my Dreamcast would get hurt. That's the fucking import Dreamcast, man.
And Michael, and to kind of end this whole thing, Michael's article, you said the reason why we still hold to this system is a very specific reason. Aside from the games and aside from...
Yeah, there's a certain amount of dead rockstar syndrome, which, if you're not familiar with
it's
the term
Kurt Cobain
somehow...
of
exactly.
game systems.
It's Jimi Hendrix dies, Kurt Cobain dies, suddenly there's
it died before it got
warning.
old.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
It's not the Rolling Stones now.
Right.
The PS2 is.
We never had to watch it get fat and old like Elvis. We never had to watch it get bogged down with shitty, Ford truck racing and all the other bullshit that bogged down the PlayStation in its last years of life.
And PS2 now.
Yeah. So we kind of, we mourn what we knew we'd never get, the games that would never come. We idealized what we had, and just kind of ended up lionizing the Dreamcast as this thing that's
true.
It's a system that died in its prime.
Yeah, it's it never let us down except for that time when it really did.
Going through your notebook is one of the weirdest emotional feelings I've had in a long time. All those Dreamcast games that I love, but really don't want updates to.
Yeah.
Toy Commander, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. That's so awesome to leave there.
Yeah, a lot of them. It's hard to play because they don't stand up, but it's very much an idea.
A lot of good memories.
Well, this week has this weekend. If I didn't have to review something, I would probably just hook up the Dreamcast and start playing because just doing all this research has made me really want to go back.
Yeah,
and play
and in a personal note, for me, it was like the last console that released before. I don't know.
Your grandmother died.
No, it's like maybe my immaturity, but I don't know. It felt
like your youth.
It felt like the last console that came out when I was still wide-eyed and quote-unquote innocent, or what. I don't know. By the time PS2 came out, I was halfway through college, like really jaded about, at this point, you've gone through a shitty breakup, or you've had a job for 4 years now. And your life has actually begun
I was gonna play. To move you on, but I did talk to Fran, who she worked at
official. She was official Dreamcast magazine.
Yeah, and I was kind of done with gaming. I had no intention of following into the PS2, the next Nintendo system, or the Xbox, but the Dreamcast somehow got me interested.
It was the only official magazine I ever subscribed to. Also, it's how much you know what I mean. The Dreamcast one. Really? I had the disc, and I was like, it was the only official. I'm not the only magazine I subscribed to, obviously, but the only official magazine. I think the Dreamcast. I said this on Facebook today. It was the last thing that every hardcore gamer could agree on.
Kind of, yeah.
Everyone liked the Dreamcast. When I went to work at GameSpy, there were so many people there who were just PC gamers who would consoles, but they all liked the Dreamcast.
It's because it was Windows CE.
They didn't like but they didn't like anything before that. They didn't really like anything after that. But everyone likes the Dreamcast.
Except maybe people born in 1995.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I see comments on our site now that are like they're overwhelmingly positive, but you'll still have people who are like, what? Why do you guys care? These games look like shit. And it's like, I understand, but
I don't, because I do think visually they hold up. They're way less. I think 64 you have on one side and PS2 on the other, and they're both foggy as shit. Yeah. I don't think those visuals hold up at all, and I think the controls are very sloppy. For some reason, the Dreamcast is in between with enough.
The Dreamcast was really just super slow. I remember when I got Sonic Adventure, I got it with my Dreamcast when it came, Japanese version.
It came with it in the box?
No, I bought it at the same time for $75 or whatever. But, I played through the whole thing in Japanese. I just remember it was non-stop. Wow, Sonic Adventure 1 is not the best game ever by any stretch of the imagination, but it was just I just got done Ocarina of Time, which is an amazing game, as everyone knows.
Right.
But even though seriously, a week later, I played Sonic Adventure, and it still blew me the fuck away, even though it's not. It's half the game Ocarina of Time is when you talk about it objectively.
Right.
But it still managed to just blow me away with the whole experience. It was beautiful, fast, and games weren't that fast before the Dreamcast came out. Games really weren't like that, on 3D games.
Like a 3D game, yeah. Well, that's what Sonic Adventure was good for, was it did the same thing the Genesis one did. This is a really fast 2D game, and then Adventure was the equivalent in a 3D world.
We like to bash it. I won't pretend I didn't like Sonic Adventure. I think it was amazing for its time.
The theme song?
It doesn't hold up so well, but I can still watch that intro and just
that intro.
That's fucking amazing. Yeah, with the water monster coming out of the building, and then the weird distorted scream.
It's basically Final Fantasy X's intro.
Yeah.
It was such a good game at the time. It's absolutely
it was like a Gecko-like sin in there.
It's Gecko Sin.
It's definitely the kind of game that was the 10 out of 10 when it was out. It wasn't really. It doesn't hold up, but it was at the time it was absolutely everything it needed to be and more. And it was amazing.
Yeah.
Holy crap!
And now no more Dreamcast.
Correct.
I remember Paul.
No,
our old Cheat Planet editor.
That's pretty funny.
Paul Clips.
Paul
Chris
with
is not laughing.
Blonde hair and glasses. What happened to him? I saw you.
He just left to go back to Boston.
He left for Nazi boot camp. He was called in for the Aryan militia. Nazi grads. I love teasing him about being the last Aryan on Earth.
I don't want to bring this back to Shane.
He never thought it was funny either. Okay.
Which is why it's funny.
We're done with the Dreamcast, which is good. I would love to talk forever about the Dreamcast, because next break we have a bunch of horrible shit that could get, I guess, me fired. And
it'll probably make most everyone listening.
Is that why you want to know about the layoffs?
Hold on. Not saying. But yes. This is... This is something I was kind of told not to play, but people have been requesting, and I have no better excuse to play it than right now. And after that, some little bit of game deals and blah blah blah. Be prepared for what would you call this? Racism, sexism,
everything.
Angry people, angry misguided people,
very weird people.
サブアクションパズルチューチューロケット2800円安いドリームキャー
チューチューロケットネズミを助けろチューチューロケット猫は怖いチューチューロケットネズミを助けろチューチューロケット猫は怖いチューチューロケットネズミを助けろチューチューロケット猫は怖い
Hey, this is Mike Nelson from rifftracks.com, and you're listening to TalkRadar.
It's evening in America, and across this great land, young men and women are coming together through the power of the internet with one common goal: to whoop each other's booties. Sega Dreamcast games are now online, unleashing the ultimate horror, your fellow Americans. Jack into SegaNet through your Dreamcast console and join your countrymen in the virtual arena. Play NFL 2K1 and cream for meatheads you've never even met. Play NBA 2K1 and school some farm boy without suffering the scent of livestock. Or play Quake 3 and waste some Jersey punk from the sanctity of your own home. And so, America, SegaNet is born. And suddenly we are one proud nation, indivisible, united in the pursuit of whooping booty.
On October 17th, thousands of gamers from more than 100 gaming communities around the world will join forces in an unprecedented battle on behalf of children engaged in the fight of their lives. The second annual Extra Life Video Game Marathon, benefiting pediatric cancer research and treatment, is your chance to make a real difference in this important battle. The best part? You can join the fight from the comfort of your own living room. Get more information online now. Visit extralife.sarcasticgamer.com. Play games, heal kids. Extra Life.
Hey, does anybody want to listen to the rest of this motherfucking podcast?
Yeah!
Can I get an encore? Do you want more? Cook and roll with the Brooklyn boys. So for one last time, I need y'all to roll. Can I get an encore? Do you want more? Cook and roll with the Brooklyn boys. So for one last time, I need y'all to roll. Now who you know fresher than whole? Riddle me that. The rest of y'all know where I'm lurking at. Can't none of y'all mirror me back. Yeah, hear me rap, it's like G rapping his prime.
Like the thing about this industry, it seems a problem when you try to do actual journalism. No one wants to play ball.
Exactly.
Nope.
You have to. Why did I learn all these fucking morals and bullshit?
The question is not why did you go to school, but why did you go to school and then go into an industry like this where nobody's interested in actual journalism?
Well, dude, read Entertainment Weekly, and it's the same shit with another coder shellac.
That's true.
Oh man, on that depressing note.
Neil Patrick Harris says his new sitcom is going to be totally hilarious.
See?
You know,
So I should say that was Dale North doing the outro with the Choo Choo Rocket remix, which we're big fans of. Old. Yeah, that coming in is Jay-Z and the Beatles because I'm afraid to play straight Beatles music at this point. And,
the lawyers do love Beatles.
Oh my god, because they've released like all those remasters. Hold on, we'll get into that in the new releases. What were we just saying, talking over the break? Was the Dreamcast technically a failure? Just they pulled the plug, but was it a failure?
It seemed like the sales were strong and they still quit, and you were just describing...
Well, yeah, I mean, so at the time, I remember, Sega, was coming off the Saturn, which was not a success. I mean, they went from the Genesis, this tremendous 50-50 split with Nintendo for most of the generation, into the Saturn, 32X and stuff, where they were just completely, grasping at straws for that generation, while PlayStation came in and ate their lunch, and N64 held its own. And then they... they came back with this new system, and they really had to get retailers interested. They had to get the marketing in line, and they did it. Like, they were selling crap loads of Dreamcast. They did press releases all the time. how fast.
They're reporting like 500,000 in the first week or two.
Yeah, it was like
in
the
America.
First week. Yeah, it was
like even at retail, on my end,
they
they were flying. They were flying out the door.
The story Peter Moore said today was that Japan had pulled the plug, but it was up to America to announce it. Because in Japan, it wasn't doing very well.
Japan, it did not do well at all. Everyone was waiting for the PlayStation 2. Sort of
Right.
similar to here, but there was less of a, I guess, of a dedicated fan base to like just cool fucking games that was willing to, just take the plunge on the Dreamcast. It didn't do well. Sonic was never a big draw in Japan.
Right.
It wasn't a well-known character
Really?
because the Genesis / Mega Drive wasn't popular. Like, it didn't quite have the same... the Virtua Fighter was huge in Japan, always has been, but Virtua Fighter 3 was a really bad port.
Yeah, for Dreamcast.
You were saying it was like a kind of a calculated decision of...
Yeah,
But you guys have a Dreamcast article up right now.
Yeah, we
What's
do
it
have...
called?
It's called... From I can't remember, beginning to the end or something, but better phrase.
We'll link to it on the TalkRadar 68 page.
But yeah, for some reason I can't remember the title. But it's basically, I mean, you have to think about what it was like in the market then. It was, they came to this decision towards the end of 2000. The system had been out for a year in America. Some of the stuff in this story is talking about, they released, they delivered a report to the Japanese, corporate headquarters saying, this is what we think the market is trending towards. We don't think we can compete in terms of, what you can output to compete with the tastes of the audiences. It's changing.
And they can't fight against companies like Sega, Microsoft, and Nintendo simultaneously.
Yeah, Sony had, of course, the PlayStation 2. Everyone knew the PlayStation 2 was going to be a success. At least everyone had that faith. The GameCube and the Xbox One didn't, set the world on fire that generation. But obviously, if you're looking at it from not knowing how they're going to do yet, you would think, holy shit, Microsoft is going to spend, and they did spend.
Yeah.
Microsoft spent ridiculous amounts of money on Xbox One. The system that only had one profitable quarter ever. And that was when Halo 2 came out. And the GameCube was, of course, we all know the GameCube was kind of a flop and it led to the Wii, but at the time, Nintendo, no one's expecting Nintendo to, stumble out of the gate either. So when you're looking at that and you're looking at the fact that Sega was...
I would imagine they had
strapped.
They had crunched the numbers and been like, well, we can make a lot of money as a company as being a multi-platform publisher-developer.
With all this talent that we have, and then for some reason all that talent didn't come to bear when they became a third-party developer, but that's another story.
No shit.
I do remember there was that brief period where it was kind of like they'd pegged the Xbox as the successor to the Dreamcast. It's like, we're going to port all our best games over to here.
Yeah.
Like House of the Dead 3, Shenmue 2.
Well, and then of course they made Panzer Dragoon Orta,
Yeah,
they made Gun Valkyrie, they made Crazy Taxi 3. For the Xbox One, which a lot of
my
people
first
forget.
Xbox game, by the way.
I remember that was the first Xbox game that really hurt my my trigger fingers.
Crazy Taxi 3 was actually a lot better than Crazy Taxi 2, which actually came out from
Crazy
Dreamcast, in my
Taxi
opinion.
Bowling. It all came down to that.
Oh, good stuff.
No,
but
drift bowling.
there was
High
this
roller.
looking into the future, you just don't know what's going to happen, and you get really.
I think that's why I get mad when people are like Dreamcast failed. I'm like, I don't know if you could call it a failure. Like their games were critically well received. Their sales.
It
were
also
okay.
didn't sell well in Europe. It sold really badly in Europe, and it sold badly in Japan. The only territory where it was popular was in North America.
So strange.
In Europe, everyone was waiting. Everyone was waiting for the PlayStation 2, and in Japan, everyone was waiting for the PlayStation 2. Here, a lot of people were waiting for the PlayStation 2, but a lot of people were like, "We'll take a chance on the Dreamcast," and
I wonder if that has
we're all happy.
Do you think it has anything to do with the fact that in 1999, when it came out, the economy was exploding in the U.S.?
I know.
Like everyone was rich.
Yeah, that's true.
I wonder if that had a part to do. I don't remember how. I don't know how the rest of
living
the
with
world
my
was
parents and had a full-time job. I was flush with cash.
Like we had a budget surplus, and the country itself was just, we've got money.
Yeah, that was like sort of a exciting period, and I know. Like I said, I had my job, and I would just spend all my all my freelance money I was getting from GameSpot on Dreamcast games because I was living with my mom.
And I thought of this last night, and this may have been real quick. The name itself, fucking almost unmarketable. A Dreamcast as a game console to appear sexy or relevant or hardcore or anything. But I love it because it's such a bizarre name.
The Dream Broadcast is what it means.
Yeah.
Dream Broadcast.
Yeah. And I thought about the other names that Sega named. They named the one after a planet.
Mm-hmm.
And
Saturn.
Saturn. And then
format.
Neptune, that's another
and Neptune. Their biggest success, though, was
beginning.
The beginning, Genesis, a name that is synonymous in the United States with the Bible. Can you even begin to imagine what would have happened?
wrong.
Yeah, if they announced a system today, it's called
The Sega King James?
Yeah, the Sega Genesis or the
amazing.
Revelation.
The Sega Revelation?
Maybe
The
not
Sega
Revelation.
Revelation.
The Sega Corinthians.
The Sega
Yeah,
Exodus.
something like that. Where like I can't believe no one in 1989 when they're like new system. In 1989
Which
when
was
the Genesis came out, that was still when games rot your brain and they're evil and they're kids.
Unlike
toys.
today.
Unlike today.
But that was a slick name, though, Genesis.
It
Especially if
is.
You didn't really know. I think a lot of people didn't really.
Yeah, I mean, that's
I'm just
lesbian
surpri-
on Real World.
I'm just surprised the crazy people out there who we'll get into in a minute.
You have to remember the word PlayStation sounded really stupid the
It
first time you heard it.
still does. It sounds like a swing set. I couldn't
I
get it out of
remember
my
reading
head.
that it was supposed to be Power Station.
And remember how I worked here. Remember when Wii came out?
Yeah,
and everyone
it was bad.
like, remember Steven couldn't stop laughing that whole
It was like
day.
2 solid weeks of dick jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it doesn't really matter.
I guess it doesn't.
weenus.
I was just so surprised that they would.
The Nintendo Wii.
In an era where everyone complains about
He can't be
everything.
fired. Christian can do all the Steven impressions he wants.
In an era where everyone complains about
Are they
everything.
serious?
This is me with the Wii between my legs. Look at me go.
It was a fun day. And
It was
then
a fun day.
I feel like they purposely announced the name of the Wii 2 weeks before E3 so everyone could have 2 weeks of dick jokes and then go into the press conference and be like, all right, now I'm ready.
Right. No, seriously, people. Stop laughing.
Stop laughing. We're going to make them
It's
blot
the Wii. Yes, it looks like a W followed by 2 dicks.
And our controller
This
looks
is
like
serious
a dick,
business.
but whatever.
Even though it looks
Well,
like a
we named
GameCube.
it this because it means, something profound in every language except English, which is the one we apparently don't care about anymore.
Okay.
Because, North America is where the Dreamcast is successful.
Speaking of Nintendo, did anybody hear the new episode of Go Nintendo's podcast?
Oh, man. I didn't.
No.
Oh, let me... Oh,
Tell me more.
Here it is, kicking off right from the beginning.
This makes my toes curl.
I don't even know what to think about it. Like,
Yeah.
first that nobody said, hey, that theme song has been used for a year and a half. And 2, that someone may have said that and they still didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And there's nothing I can do because I'm not saying, hey, take it out, mister, but I don't think we're
It's
going
not our
to.
song anyway. We're using it with permission.
We got permission. Go Nintendo!
Which I do like the Go Nintendo site, so I can't.
It just seems odd to switch your theme song.
It is weird to switch it to something that's. I mean, we're a podcast that's on the iTunes front page regularly, so it's strange that they would pick the exact song that we picked a year and a half ago. Not our song, as you said,
Maybe
but
they
it was
just
strange.
don't know because they hate us.
It's
true.
Anamanaguchi, Helix Nebula.
Maybe they
Never
went
ask
to the
again.
Anamanaguchi show or something, and they're like, "Hey, this shit's pretty cool."
You were not there. I remember you twittering saying, "I wish I was
Oh
there."
man, it was awesome.
I should have gone.
Yeah, but they have like 24 songs or something that they could
I know.
have picked from. They
You know what?
picked
Let's
this
change
song.
ours.
I know. Wow. You know what?
You should do an a cappella version of that song.
You know what? We'll see what you guys think. Comment in the articles. Let's get rid of the theme song. What do you think?
Whatever you do, don't go over to Go Nintendo. And
Yeah, actually, do
Yeah,
not do
that,
that.
that actually doesn't do us any favors when you go over and just like. Act
I really
like
think
an
that's
asshole.
what depresses me the most, that they had no idea.
Yeah.
I think they had no idea.
Mhm.
They'd never heard it. No one's pointed it out to them, really. That it came to my attention, so whatever. New releases on game consoles and PC this week. Who's ready?
I'm ready. Tell
ready?
me. I will
I'm
tell you.
just like a spring.
Dirt 2.
Apparently the 9 sucks.
Dirt 2, more dirt.
Dirt 2.
The movie 9.
Dirt 2 is beautiful. It's a very good game.
Oh, Dirt 2.
It's a very good, except for the PSP one, which
Oh my god.
I may have a review coming out somewhere that's not Games Radar. I absolutely, almost sure I should do some research into it. I think it's an iPhone game. I think it's an iPhone game put on the PSP, and it looks like ass, and it plays like shit.
It looks bad, and it looks
Surprised
nothing like what I would expect.
All
from-
things that Dirt is not known for.
Yeah.
The Dirt 1 and Dirt 2. Dirt 2 just was like, I didn't play the first one extensively, but whatever. It seemed like a
No, Dirt 2's kicking ass with reviews and stuff.
yeah.
And
It's
it looks
a really,
amazing.
really, really fun game and very.
And we have
pretty.
a very good. I actually genuinely enjoy the super review that's up right now for Dirt 2.
Oh, yeah,
on
that's right.
GamesRadar.com.
Get rid of
It's got a lot of good videos. I think it really sells the point of why this is a fun racing game.
Yes, I think some of the UK, because we're not big rally fans in this country. But
I used to be,
a
but
little
I-
bit of the rally aspect is gone and what I slammed it for was everything's streamlined. You won't have a race that's less than 2.5 minutes, and there's not a lot of mountain stuff. And it's all skinned in the product of the X Games. meaning that there's useless races in the middle of a stadium, which rally racing, like I don't want to race in fake dirt over a parking lot. And the UK had a huge problem with it. I had more of a problem with it being like, "Yo, dude, what's up? You're playing dirt." Like this is actually a respectable sport in a semi-respectable medium for a while, and I don't know why they went that route. We'll see. Maybe it'll connect with American audiences. Hopefully, the same could be said for Marumasa.
Marumasa, the Demon Blade, which I reviewed.
Dumb and Bad Blade.
All wrong. Demon Blade.
Muramasa,
which means
fucking awesome.
Is it just a sword?
Because it's Japanese, I'm assuming Muramasa means something.
It's a blacksmith or a swordsmith.
Is that just what it is?
Like that's what Masamune is. And
I
almost
couldn't
interchangeably.
Oh, okay.
I just remember finding the Marumasa blade in Chrono Trigger recently.
It's in
every JRPG.
What did I say?
Muramasa is the game, Masamune is the blade.
No,
I've seen them both used in Final Fantasy.
Yeah, they're both
all right.
in Final
Anyway,
Fantasy.
moving on. Who gives a shit?
This
It's
is
awesome.
This is important. No, it's
beautiful.
It's a completely beautiful game, and it's like the first paragraph of the review. I point out that, and this has happened before with Odin Sphere, Grimoire. So Vanillaware has a history of this, but it's the kind of game that shows like, stop saying pretty for a Wii game, because enough games have actually come out that actually do look good. That I just accept that most of the shit that comes out for Wii is not pretty, and that something like Muramasa is, if it had come out, let's say for 360, it wouldn't be any prettier. I don't think even doing this in 720p would be much of a difference. I might be wrong with my technical schematics.
I've never seen the Vanillaware art style on
it's
in high definition.
I think this is the first time it's been widescreen. I don't think neither Odin Sphere nor Grimoire were, but it's widescreen. It looks gorgeous, animated. It's completely fluid. I don't know, and the gameplay is like Castle Crashers, Devil May Cry, very combo-y, very easy to weave your moves together. And my only problem was, as you gain levels, you don't learn any new moves. You start the game with every move you'll ever know. So it's very strange. You don't get this sense of growth or progression as the game goes on.
Really?
And you're always going from here to here to here. It's like shitty backtracking. There's no backtracking that takes you across the whole map to like kind of soak up the view again. You're kind of through a place once and that's it. But then you have to go back through that same place and all these empty rooms that have no function. Kind of like the first Metroid is just corridor, corridor, corridor. There's like no secrets in them. There's no branching paths off them. They're just there for some reason that I don't get. So there's a little too much backtracking, but like the experience is second to none. It's a fantastic just beat 'em up slasher game.
Yeah,
music is excellent, by the way.
I got my copy. I haven't played it yet, but I did watch back when it came out in Japan. I was actually in Japan, and I watched my friend play it for a little while, and I just remember going, "Damn!"
Yeah.
You know, like even though I'd played Odin Sphere, I was still like, "Damn!"
Yeah, there's bosses in this thing that are the size of the screen, and I can't imagine. I can't imagine them looking better, even if it was like 720p on a 360. Like it maybe is a little crisper, and I don't know, but it really is you have to watch it in motion and play it to really appreciate this kind of game. Which, tying back, this is from Ignition, with Shane Bettenhausen, who we had on the podcast actually to talk about this.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Oh, you did? You had Shane on?
It was at Comic-Con.
I didn't actually. I've heard his podcast and read his stuff. I didn't know what he looked like. And I interviewed him, and he said his name like, "Oh, fuck. I'm sorry. Hi, Shane."
Yeah.
Hi, Shane. You used to live with him?
2.5 years.
Oh,
wow.
That's adorable.
Yeah, it's totally worth it. Absolutely.
Speaking of the Wii Contra Rebirth.
Oh, Contra Rebirth. Yeah, I downloaded that, and I only played it for like maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and it's a brand new Contra game, 2D.
Who developed it?
Quick.
I'm just curious.
One irritating thing you discovered about it, though.
What was it? Oh, what? Yeah, the strange thing, like I'm holding it sideways, the Wii remote sideways to play like an NES game, and you jam the button to run and shoot at the same time. So that's kind of weird. It's not like Contra 3 or 4 where you can run and hold the button down and you just keep firing. If you hold the button down, you stop running and just shoot stationary. When before the shoulder buttons were what stopped you and held you in place. But what's weird is I was trying to figure out how you switch weapons, because you can hold two guns at the same time. Pushed every button, nothing switches the gun. Tyler Wilde, as a joke, says, "Shake the remote." That's what fucking did it.
Yes.
I shook the remote, and that's what switched the gun. And then it isn't that disruptive, but in a game that's like pixels will kill you, I do not want to shake the controller that I'm using to avoid said pixels. But the game itself is really cool. It has a lot of cool sprite effects. And
how weird that, like, I was dimly aware of its existence.
Yeah.
It's like completely different than the Mega Man 9 hype train.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For you think for a new Contra game, there would be more.
Yeah, I didn't hear about it until this week.
I think Contra 4 kind of soaked that up.
That's true.
When it did happen.
Which was awesome. I
Contra
love
4
Contra
probably
4.
one of my favorite games of 07. But Contra Rebirth is quite good, but it's super hard, and if you don't like dying repeatedly, but you do have infinite continues with no codes, so you will beat it eventually. But it's pretty cool. It's a good week for Wii, I'll say that.
Darkest of Days, 360 PC. What was that? Where you travel back in time to different life-changing events throughout.
I read a preview of this written by our own Andy Mack, where he says that who
God rest his
recently
soul.
left us as well. Yes,
Yeah, we're kind of down right now.
Yeah, you're like one of General Custer's soldiers, and you get pulled from the Battle of Little Bighorn by this time traveler and forced to work for his company, where you go to various really horrific battlefields and try to ensure that certain people live.
What? That sounds really interesting.
But it involves killing pretty much everyone else. It's Darkest of Days.
Who made it?
It's made by Phantom EFX is the publisher.
Are you sure it's not Bill and Ted?
It's
developed by 8 Monkey Labs.
It's a shooter. Probably its most interesting hook is that.
Is it an FPS?
Yeah, it is an FPS. But you can, in certain level areas, you can use future weapons in historical settings. Like you can go back to Pompeii and start mowing down people with an assault rifle.
I never saw that.
Well, they're dead already, so let's.
Get like Halo weapons in the Revolutionary War. Or anything?
Kind of. Yeah. Well, it's like there are historical weapons. Like you're in the Civil War, you have muskets and revolvers, but you can also get a special assault rifle later on and a grenade launcher to kill Nazis with.
How is there a game I haven't heard of? I literally never heard of this game.
It's very.
I thought it was announced.
Skeptical about it because
it was announced years ago.
Yeah, it came out Tuesday. There were no reviews on Metacritic.
Yeah, right now it's averaging.
And it uses the Marmoset engine, according
Damn
to
straight, except nothing less than the Marmoset engine.
It's averaging a 54 right now. OXM gave it a 6.5. IGN is a 3.6.
Oh no!
Which sucks because it's a cool idea. It's a very genuinely interesting idea.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea. It's different. I was immediately intrigued.
And now,
then I heard it was a mediocre shooter, and
you can move
now
on.
I'm marching right on by.
However, they've got ads all over our site, so go buy Darkest
of
Days.
Yeah, man, Darkest of Days. Can't recommend it enough.
Oh man.
Moving on.
In the prize van.
Disgaea.
Oh, Disgaea
Dark
2,
Hero Days.
Dark Hero Days for PSP.
What the hell is this about?
It is Disgaea 2 from 2006.
It's scaring me.
But on the PSP.
But on the PSP with a couple of extra,
It's the weakest of the 3 Disgaea games. Enjoy!
Is it? I liked it a lot.
I don't know, because the first one was everyone thought it was really cool and original.
Yeah.
2 had better features, but the story was way less interesting. And then 3 kind of sort of brought,
I don't know. I liked the characters of 2. I bought Michael bought me the mangas for my birthday. I read them all.
All right.
I don't know. That's me. But it's
even to say the weakest Disgaea game is not really a damning statement. It's
That's true.
the weakest of 3 really good games. So
Yeah,
maybe it isn't. Maybe it is.
Yeah.
But it's
if you're interested
more Disgaea than you can stand.
Yeah, any one of them is a 100 to 200 hour game. So if you didn't play Disgaea 2, go for it.
That's it. All right. Well, fine. Biggest new release of the week. Guess what it is? Biting Dreamcast release date. Beatles Rock Band. Beatles Rock Band. Who's into it? God, I did get too drunk too quickly. I blame Dreamcast.
I'm moderately into it. I can't make up my mind.
Yeah. I know you're at least a Beatles fan.
I like to be. Actually, I had a dream that I spent all my money on Beatles reissue CDs. I'm not kidding. I had a dream that I spent $400 ordering CDs from Amazon or something.
Christian is the only person I know who had the balls to every time I'm in karaoke, I'm like, I want to do Helter Skelter, and everybody's like, fuck you. If they know what it is, no. And Christian's like, he grabbed the thing from me and put it in and screamed myself hoarse doing Helter Skelter. Sorry, it's a hard song.
Yeah.
Nobody would do it the whole night at the Beatles event except for Chris Kohler. And I went up and I shook his hand afterwards I cannot believe you did that. Beautiful. Beautiful,
I love
beautiful.
that song. I love that song.
Are you into the Beatles Rock Band?
I'm not that into the Rock Band. I'll play it at parties, but I'm not a big fan of. I don't actually really like music games all that much. So I still think I'm going to buy it. I've sort of been hemming and hawing. I had it pre-ordered for a while. Canceled my pre-order. Thought about it. You know what I mean? Not like there's not going to be copies of it lying there for me to buy.
Yes.
It's the biggest cultural event ever. It's on the cover of Entertainment Weekly. It's the cover of everything.
It's
it was reviewed by Pitchfork Media.
And Game Informer.
And it was reviewed by Pitchfork Media.
Did you see the thing Dan Amrich on Twitter, which is @DanAmrich? He pointed out that Reuters said that shit about Beatles are going to revive the ailing video game industry, like it's in a slump and the Beatles are going to come save it.
That's one of those predictions that'll never bite them back in the ass because they're Reuters. If we said that...
You know what I hate about the Beatles, and this is the only thing I hate about it. It's not really about the Beatles directly, but I hate baby boomer culture. I hate baby boomers.
There you go.
I think it's time for them all to die and take their shitty fucking culture and just leave us with the Beatles, but without like the smugness about how fucking good the Beatles were. We know they're good.
You don't understand,
That's
man.
basically the highest barrier of entry for me.
I like the Beatles.
Is a lifetime of being told, well, you better like them or you're wrong.
I think.
And I'm like, all right, I won't then.
The most emblematic person of that is Billy Bob Thornton on
What?
On Bill Maher's show, talking about like how his daughter likes all these acts, and it's like, but they were all around when I was a kid. You know, these bands from my era. Oh, your bands suck. Oh, your bands are just derivative of my bands.
I hate baby boomers. They're smug. The Rolling Stones suck now. They were good for like 10 minutes in the 60s. Baby boomers suck, and I'm tired of their cultural hegemony, but Beatles are good.
Beatles are worth playing in a music
and we
game.
just alienated our 350-something fans.
Sorry, guys. You can be smug with all your money.
I Hate the Beatles by Dean Martin.
Yeah, I did see it.
I saw the video.
Should I save it? I could play it in the break because I don't have anything for the breaks.
I think it's funny just as a cultural artifact.
Yeah.
It just kind of raises all kinds
Dean
of
Martin,
questions
I didn't
about
know
what
this.
it meant to be cool in the 60s.
Okay, exactly what you were saying there. I'm so worried about being perceived like this. Oh my God, how could you be this behind the times? What was it in our Rock Band Beatles review? We have a video of Dean Martin,
Victimone,
and Alan Sherman.
Yeah.
The artist behind the Camp Granada song, where he complains about having itchy knuckles or some shit like that.
Guy is.
That's Alan Sherman. That's what makes me so mad when I hear this song. But this is, Brett, here you go. You're a little vindicated. But this is, to me, when you see this, you see this, it's a bunch of shitheads in the 70s standing around in tuxedos singing bad shit about the Beatles.
It can't have been the 70s. I mean,
It was 60s. It was late 60s.
Yeah.
But just it looks. You are so out of touch.
Yeah.
And
well, it's like this is what this was the defining line between establishment cool and counterculture cool, which at the time was embodied by the Beatles, and these guys were establishment.
And I complain about, every one of us does, about television being out of touch. At least we're nowhere near a variety show on the air, complaining about the latest band, which, their sounds offend me. Here they go. I Hate the Beatles. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, hold on. We should give this a good intro. Victimone, Alan Sherman, and Dean Martin.
My daughter needs a new phonograph. She wore out all the needles. Besides, I broke the old one in half. I hate the Beatles.
It's Popco's The Weasel.
Talk about relevance. Finger the pulse.
The others all play with them. It shows you what a boy can become without a sense of rhythm.
Well, you know.
Boys are from the British Empire. The British think they're keen. If that is what the British desire, God save the Queen.
Doesn't even have, like, meter. He didn't even...
keen.
He the British think they're keen.
Well,
I'm going to say keen and sustain it until the rhyme is over.
It's not just that Dean Martin was drunk, but he had such dignity to never write any of his own songs or play an instrument that he could.
What a bold music!
What a bold statement! All of those guys. One guy covered a fucking nursery rhyme, and the other guy hung out with Frank Sinatra.
That is some bold shit.
Seriously, I mean, that takes balls.
Frank Sinatra and Jerry Lewis.
Jesus.
But how about Christian? Have you seen the set list of the Beatles rock band?
I have. I don't have it memorized or anything.
No, you were impressed with it though. Did you see a lot of stuff you were happy about?
It's a lot of fun. I played it at E3, actually. You know, they have those Rock Band Beatles parties at that hotel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wasn't invited.
Okay, there's nothing really wrong with the game. I will say that what I'm a little disappointed. I remember when they announced the game, when it was just like, before it was really a Rock Band game, they're like, we're making a Beatles game, and it's going to be different, more interesting. You know, I can't remember what the exact implications were. I don't have the quotes on me, but there was this sense that like it wasn't just going to be another iteration of Rock Band, and it pretty much turned out to be another iteration of Rock Band.
You got harmonies. I think that's a huge step in terms of
in the pushing button genre. That's like fucking going from PlayStation 1 to Dreamcast. I know, but in real games, that's not that big of a deal, right?
And then there's a little bit more of incentive to keep the single player. There's a little bit more of an incentive to keep playing.
No, I mean, I don't think it's a bad game. I actually think it's a very good game. I really think that it did a really good job with the art direction.
There you go.
Which is amazing and really enjoyable. It really brings the whole vibe of the Beatles to life. It's totally essential. So I don't dislike the game, but I'm just saying it's Rock Band.
Here's what I dislike about it is that one, they had that song from Love, the melody from the Cirque du Soleil. Mm-hmm. I'm like, wow, that opens up a whole fucking world of tunes you could use that aren't technically by the Beatles. You could use all this other crazy crap because the Beatles are pretty much the figureheads over anybody who even used their music. And there was like, we have a secret song we're not going to announce. And I had my fingers crossed for this.
Bang, bang, Maxwell's silver hammer came down upon her head.
Michael is nodding his head. Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club.
Fuck that movie.
Fucking
movie
phenomenal.
with the Bee Gees?
Phenomenal. The Bee Gees fronted by Peter Frampton doing all Beatles songs.
However, more watchable than Across the Universe, I thought.
I think a little bit. The Billy Preston part at the end.
Why did Beatles movies suck? Across the Universe is not that good.
No, it is not.
Because, I don't know, it's just based off of music you want to hear by people you didn't want to hear it from.
Strawberries bleeding on nails.
Mm-hmm.
And,
what a movie.
I only mentioned that because I saw it randomly in the theater, like, when I first moved to San Francisco. Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club. Holy shit.
Wait, you saw that in the theater?
Yeah, I saw
was
it.
Like the Red Vic or something?
At the Castro.
Yeah.
I saw that and fucking Xanadu in a double bill. I was going crazy. And,
man, you make that a triple bill, get Can't Stop the Music in there.
Can't Stop
Holy
the Music,
shit.
the Apple followed it up. So there's not a line of dialogue spoken in that movie. It's all sung. Aerosmith does one of those John Lennon songs. Only hilarious in that they kill the guy's girlfriend at the end by knocking her off the stairs, and one of the the funniest supposed to be dramatic dummy falls of all time. And seemingly only so they could bring her back to life in the next instant after I lost everything. It doesn't matter.
People in the 70s, and these did bend both ways.
Here's what
remember: Aerosmith is the bad guys.
Aerosmith are the villains.
Aerosmith are the villains
good guys
of oh god,
Yeah,
America.
and they're dressed as Nazis.
Of good music, and but I was hoping the last song in Rock Band would be something like this. The only person who speaks during the entire movie, it's all sung. George Burns. Who also sings.
Filling the cracks that ran through the door that kept my mind from wandering
George Carlin
where it will go.
No, he's fucking old.
I know.
He was 40 years from death and still 80.
Yes, I'm aware of George Burns.
Actually, yeah, he did make 100, didn't he?
Yeah.
What an old bastard.
What an old smoking bastard.
And only because we exhausted all our fucking Rock Band Beatles stuff last week, and I'm really scared at this point to play Beatles music because they're suing everybody, and they just remastered all that stuff.
They're on iTunes, I guess.
And we don't have permission to do any of this shit. And this segues into hold on, where's our segue button?
Time to keep moving. Let's go.
Christian smiled a little bit. Maybe you recognize Blastcore.
Blastcore, Smash TV, and Hanna-Barbera.
All in one sound effect. I did a feature a year or two ago. Basically, I forgot all about it, and I ended up starting to see these things in my inbox. Picket filthy Christ-rejecting Jews in Wichita. Picket filthy Christ-rejecting Jews in Chicago. Picket filthy Christ... And so on.
Are those requests
and so on.
or instructions?
And they're like they're subject lines. And granted, like I'm like, yeah, Atari releases this, whatever. Whoa, Joe, let's pick at the Jews. Like it's odd to see in my inbox, and I kept finding the way, and I realized it's WBC, the Westboro Baptist Church, and
the friendliest group of completely batshit fucking bigots in the entire world. They're the God Hates Fags people.
You should maybe explain why you're on their list.
Hold on. Oh yes, well that's what I'm going at. This is the only time it picked up WBC to picket contentious Christ-rejecting Jews. And WBC to picket funeral of Holocaust Museum guard. And this week, of course, I have my eye out for anything related to the Beatles. And none other, Shirley Phelps Roper, sends me an email. Not even WBC. Shirley Phelps Roper sends me an email. Sony / the Beatles are threatening to sue over our parody of Hey Jude. I will let you guess what the title of that song is called. Because either way, I think the Beatles were successful because that website is taken down.
Right.
I may have argued to play it, but I've been told to be very careful with this. Don't say bag. We're not allowed to say bag.
I'm not. What about me?
I don't know. You know what? We'll justify it later. Do whatever you want.
If it comes to that, we can ask.
Do whatever you want.
That's what they are. They're that's like their thing.
I know. The thing is, no. I think that's defensible. That's exactly what they are.
I know, but I don't.
I'll take the heat for that one then, if it comes to that.
Basically, we what was it? We had the Week of Hate. What was it? 2008.
Yep.
And without asking, I was talking with Tyler. Who's the most hated person in the world? And we just had this joke like back and forth. Who is it? I don't know. The Incredible Hulk, UA Bowl, oh, Shirley Phelps Roper, star of the British documentary, BBC documentary, The Most Hated Family in America.
Right.
If you're not familiar with her, I think Sean Hannity can do a way better intro than I can.
First time that's ever been said.
Exactly. Sean Hannity, probably my hero, everybody listening, does a way better intro. I actually had to soften these words with a little music, so enjoy.
You are as mean and as sick and as cruel as anybody that I've ever had on this program. Do you really believe when you hold up your signs, thank God for IEDs, that innocent people died, thank God for September 11th, thank God for AIDS?
There are no innocent people. Thank God for 9/11. Thank God for dead soldiers. Thank God for IEDs.
Get it?
I do not. I think these people are the most fantastic performance group of all time.
There's only like 25 of them or something.
Something like that, and
they're all related.
They're all related.
And they live
living in the
compound.
same area.
They came to when I was at ABC. They came to protest a soldier's funeral. Guess
And I
why?
can't tell you, it's
Guess
scared-
why they came to protest his
Why?
funeral? He was gay.
Was it because he was gay?
Yep.
Because I asked her, and I didn't pull that specific clip, but she quip.
You know, whatever.
Their sole motivation for everything seems to be the gays.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why are you protesting soldiers? Well, they respect the right for people to practice sexuality, and they'll fight for that. And they deserve
fight
to
for
die.
a country that allows gays to live.
And it's like, well, and I was like, well, are you there to recruit people? No. I'm like, well, can people join your church? They're like, no, no one can join our church. I should probably.
It's our church.
A couple of my friends have been begging me to play the actual audio of this interview because we never have before.
This you interviewed them and posted a whole interview with this woman, Shirley
With this
Phelps
woman.
Roper. And
I remember we talked about this before on the podcast. You asked me if I was going to be okay with this because when I heard you were going to
You were
do
mad
this,
at me.
I was mad because you're giving them a venue.
platform.
But then I thought you handled it really well because you just kind of sort of were very low key and let her be batshit.
Yes, made fun of her in the context of video games.
She was totally confused. She had no idea what you were saying to her. She was just like blah, 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 and like yeah.
I don't know. I'm really scared to see how it'll go because I'm not sure if it comes across as funny because I was out of my mind nervous. More nervous than I've been in any interview I've ever conducted.
Right.
Like Tyler had to be sitting there, and I think in the first clip his fucking phone goes off in it. He had to be sitting there because I was so afraid. Hold on, let me see. I'm asking her what types of games she likes. She has a Wii.
Right.
She's played Mario Brothers, and I asked her if she protests soldiers' funerals. Would she protest a military game?
Right.
There's only two kinds of people that inhabit this country.
Which one? What was that?
It would be that you're either engaged in some kind of disobedience, practicing perversion, or to the standards of God I'm talking about.
I hear you.
Or you're an enabler of those people.
An enabler? Oh, wait, what are we talking about?
See, that's what I love about the interview. You're just like, what?
That's not an answer.
Feign cluelessness.
I asked a question, but that wasn't the answer. That was just a statement.
I'm very afraid because these people, I don't know how these people make money. Allegedly, they're all lawyers and very litigious. when it comes to people saying things about them. So let's just say I think they are a little too enthused about their mythology. Is that that was diplomatic.
That was diplomatic.
And,
I don't really see a reason to be diplomatic, but I mean, the thing is, like, these are the people that nobody takes seriously.
Yes.
Like, nobody. There's like 25 of them. They hold up placards that say deeply offensive things in totally inappropriate contexts, like funerals.
God hates F words. Save the gerbils at soldiers' funerals.
Yeah. It's just really tasteless. It's like even if you are so staunchly against something,
she just said thank God for 9/11. Like,
yeah. Thank God for 9/11.
To Sean Hannity.
Yeah.
It takes a certain demented like cojones to do that.
How do you say that without losing teeth? It's like of all the people to turn violent.
And I'd asked her about military games, and if she'd like to play COD 4, and it did not go well. Since you were protesting soldiers' funerals, you would be inherently against a military game.
No, hon, that's just such a clueless thing that you just said that. Well, I understand. So why don't you ask questions and let's don't play games.
This bitch hates me, and she's a wonderful woman. Can I say that? She's very sweet. Whole time called me honey and sweetheart, no matter what she said about my parents and my upbringing and who I am and where I live. Am I enabling?
Well, you're enabling right now. You're enabling.
Am I enabling?
I'm on the podcast.
Are we saying
You're
this?
enabling my unethical lifestyle.
Well, you have an unethical lifestyle? Just Phantasy Star? I would never ever call that unethical.
So what was the reason she even is on? Like, how did it come to pass that you even interviewed this woman?
It was the week.
It was
the week of hate, and like without discussing it with anybody, like Tyler was fiddling around. Like, I'm gonna try and interview Conan O'Brien. I bet you I can get close. Or do it, and he did, and I'm like, well, I bet you I could get Shirley Phelps Roper. And I sent one email, and she got back to me, yes. Of course,
well, yeah, she'll take any chance.
I didn't realize like I'd have to be responsible for handling it. And I told Steven, and like Steven's from England, and to them, that's not a big culture in the UK, or a big religious culture. They're like the fucking boogeymen.
Right.
No, like maybe you have a very proactive church here. Church doesn't factor into a lot of things there. They seem really weird and out there.
Right.
So he was like, "Oh my God, you got to do this. We have to be careful. Oh my God." He wouldn't even let me replay this audio from an article that's reprinted on the site verbatim.
Right.
So I asked her about music games. I told her I was just trying to just hassle her in terms of video games to get the crazy out.
And I don't play any games.
Why not?
I don't have time to play games.
Well,
You do know I have 11 children. I run around this country like a chicken with my head cut off.
We're done if your guild went online. If you brought your message into a game like Second Life or World of Warcraft.
Well, you know that we are online. We have the GodHatesAmerica.com and GodHatesAmerica.com.
Don't go to those websites, by the way.
GodHatesBeep.com is the worst website ever.
I will get in trouble if I use the F word.
I know.
I will get in trouble. But it's, yes, GodHatesFudge.com.
God hates fangs.
God hates fangs. We could probably get away with that.
It's a Twilight anti-fan site. God hates fangs.
God hates Friday.
I asked her about music games, and she's heard of Rock Band. I try and present more opportunities to get that kind of semi-violent, hateful message out using current consoles and PC games. What about the music games?
I don't know what you mean by that, but I do know that we have music videos.
No, there's
Congratulations.
Like you can play a fake.
Yeah, but there's music videos, too. We got some music videos out. God Hates the World. Awesome stuff.
Awesome stuff, and that's how I got here, because they made a parody song of Hey Jude, the Beatles' Hey Jude. Hold on, still presenting their alternatives. This may be a long clip. Hopefully, I captured it right. But even the Wisdom Tree games, the ones based off Noah's Ark. I tried to. I was like, "Will you play the Left Behind games?" She's like, "Cameron, if it's based on popular culture, I hate it." Even the Wisdom Tree games, the ones based off Noah's Ark, probably have nothing to condone those.
What I'm telling you is that if you've got something that's steeped in popular religious culture, then you don't have anything that's in the neighborhood of serving God or the truth of God. It'll be in some fashion perverted, dumbed down, fluffed up,
I think she's totally does not understand the nuanced message of wisdom tree.
Super Noah's Ark 3D
sticking to the
has a lot
written
going
word.
on under the hood.
When you say things like that, you put yourself in a really isolating
Inspirational
position where it seems-
masterpiece.
Well, I just calls it as I see it. We've been on these streets for 17 years. We've been in more than 500 doomed American cities. Look at the faces of the people, talking to them. More than 34,000 tickets. We know what's going on with this nation and what is going on with these people.
But you could have just stayed home and played with them or something like that.
Stayed home and did what?
With them. I'm offering an alternative because it seems like you're just.
But that's not what we're not here to do. That we're not here. What we're doing here is telling you what the Word of God is. We're not interested in trying to fix it. We can't fix it, even if you can get us to agree to this God loves everyone lying culture. You're not going to, that doesn't make it so. That doesn't mean that God does love everyone, even if everyone would agree. Look, the Lord Jesus Christ said, if these people, my people, cease to tell you the truth, if they don't tell you right, the stones will immediately cry out.
Wait, who said that?
The Lord Jesus Christ.
Jesus. Hold on, let me write that down.
Ouch. Ouch.
Jesus said something about
I do hate that because someone
Wait, is
said,
that actually? You might be talking about Beatles rock band, The Stones. The day it is released.
Yeah.
When's anyone going to ask us for a game?
Where's our Guitar Hero Rolling Stones? Where's our Guitar Hero Jars of Clay DC Talk? Yeah, I know my Christian rock.
Those
need a
bands
rock-
are all filthy sinners.
Need a Rock Band Eagles.
Hold on, we're almost done. I was asking, well, okay, you have a message to get across. How do I join your church? Turns out it's absolutely impossible.
Would we let them join our church?
Yeah.
You mean people we don't know?
Yeah.
Well, of course not. This isn't a social organization.
Yes,
This is
it
the
is.
Church of the Living God. It's the Church of the Lord Jesus Christ.
So just showing up and telling people they're going to hell is kind of kicking them when they're down. We call
Kicking them, you're all down
It's a
all the
teabagging
time.
joke.
All down all the time.
I know.
You're without hope and without God.
She's very selective on that whole theology thing.
It's interesting because it's basically like, oh, there's no chance of salvation. We're just here to yell at you.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Why would you
yeah.
kick soldiers in the soldiers' funerals? You're kicking them while they're down. You're going to hell.
Yeah, we're just here to tell people
Just
like it is.
saying.
It's like, well, can they join you? Can they seek salvation? No!
No! Why? Don't be crazy.
Is there any way you can ever repent in their
Nope.
eyes and be
Nope.
like, no?
I don't think so.
The entire organization is their family members. I do have a clip of that somewhere after the Bay Area Slam. Who's ready to get pissed?
Oh man.
If you love me, obey my commandments.
No.
That's Jesus again.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You're not. Are you telling me just straight up and honestly that you don't have any Bible knowledge?
I have a little bit of Bible knowledge.
Yeah.
We're out in San Francisco.
Well, I know that that's a waste howling, barren wilderness.
It is on Shelby Phelps Road. You don't talk about the Bay
That
Area.
explains all the brambles I'm sitting in.
And the howling wind that keeps coming in over the mic.
Hey, she's not alone in that.
No, she's definitely not.
I mean, even
O'Reilly's
Ooh.
impression of what the Bay Area
Oh, the
is.
SPs? That is the dumbest acronym of all time.
Suppressive persons?
Secular progressives.
Oh.
So in other words,
Scientology there for a minute there, buddy.
The people who aren't people who aren't.
No, they did a segment on O'Reilly showing what San Francisco's really like, and it's like
they walk
a homeless guy and people in the hate.
Yeah,
it's like we're done.
Which is my neighborhood. So I'm like, fuck you, buddy.
That's right. I was living there at the time. He's like, we went to Haight-Ashbury Street, and you could see the camera shot was like the camera guy standing on his tiptoes to point at the sign.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't film the fucking Gap and the Ben and Jerry's.
The Ben and Jerry's.
And the basic mall that Haight-Ashbury
Ben and Jerry's.
has become.
Hey, they made Hubby Hubby ice cream, so they're going straight
I'm not bashing
to hell
them.
too.
But they were like,
no, I am. Ben and Jerry's straight to hell.
I just had some Elton John. What was that that ice cream?
Elston John.
Yellow Brickle Road. Had it yesterday. It was fucking fantastic.
I'm
White
eating,
fudge,
I'm
peanut butter
eating
cookie
Americone Dream every night when I go home.
Americone Dream?
It's unbelievable.
Every night?
Every night.
You don't look like you're not packing on the pounds. That stuff is...
I think I have a tapeworm.
All right. Speaking of, I asked her specific things about games. Like, I asked her about BioShock without telling her what it was. Well, are you familiar with Rapture?
I know what the word means.
With Rapture? It's in a game called BioShock.
No, I don't know a game called Rapture.
Yeah, well, I think the kids would love it. It's an undersea village where people go to get away from religious oppression.
No, let me tell you, that's really funny. Now you're cracking me up. They go to get away from religious oppression?
Yeah, and other...
Well, that's where I ought to go.
Exactly.
That's where I need to go to get away from the religious oppression.
So I can
This
religiously
nation,
oppress
this tolerant nation with the First Amendment. No, I need to find me someplace to go to get away from your religious oppression.
So you would be willing to relocate under the sea?
See, that's why I enjoyed this interview so much in a way that I just did not anticipate. And that stuff like that as well.
Because our platform is so fucking stupid and appeals to no one. I think she doesn't have a. Look, I think she's a great message. Until further notice, GamesRadar has no other spiritual counsel. What happens, Brett Elston, Michael Raparas, Christian Nutt, when there's no room left in hell? And from a gamer mindset, it's common knowledge when you talk about all these people going to hell. Are you aware of what happens when there's no room left in hell?
There's no such thing as that. God is not running out of room in hell.
You don't think so?
No, heavens no.
I don't know. The way you guys talk, it seems like no one else gets to go but you. It's like a really exclusive party.
Well, first of all, when you say it's exclusive, well, here's the language of the scriptures, that it is a remnant, a very small remnant, okay? It's a remnant according to the election of grace. Do you understand what I just said?
Absolutely not.
I'm going to say I'm with you on that one.
Absolutely not. It's a remnant.
So the message really just is yelling at people.
Sort of, yes.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do. We won't help you. We won't even tell you. You're just all
But then
wrong.
there's no redemption.
Right.
If you're aligned with America, you're doomed.
Meanwhile, she pays taxes, I'm guessing.
She calls that her vocation. That's not her job. Through her job.
I'm sure
her job is to spread the word of the Lord. She's a lawyer who sometimes makes money on the side, possibly suing people for harassing them in public venues.
Any money she spends in the U.S. Spurns the economy, which is supporting the United States.
You better be driving a Japanese car. But I didn't ask her about that.
Because they're a big Christian nation.
Yeah. I asked her about the apocalypse.
And I've lived long enough that I can tell you without reservation.
Hundreds of years.
What are you, about 20?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah. You're going to look up, and you're going to be 50. And it'll be, that is, if the Lord wasn't coming.
Is he coming?
The Lord is coming.
When's he coming?
Shortly. So what you've got...
More specific?
No, of course, I can't be more specific.
Well, this was, what, 2 years ago?
Yeah, about.
So, assuming that she thought you were 20, that would be 30 years, so we have 28 years left by that logic.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
Because you said, you won't make it to 50.
So I have to
which
live
is
it up.
30 years from 2 years ago.
Well, that article posted March 24th, 2008, by the way.
Oh, okay.
God.
Just for
a long
the
time ago.
So we have 29 years left, guys. Live it up.
Yeah,
Less.
It's not 2012. It's probably somewhere more around Pirates of the Caribbean 6's release date. Way, way on into that. Wish there was another milestone.
Be more specific.
Why?
The scripture is very specific about that answer. That no man knoweth the day nor the hour when the Son of Man will return. But what you do know...
Can you make a guesstimate?
What you do know is that it's going to be...
Bloody?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, we agree on something.
Finally, I found the adverb that she can agree on.
Armageddon. Armageddon.
When God returns, the guy you've been worshiping, bloody. Bloody as hell.
Well, for everybody else, all but the 25 people.
The
25 people in Kansas will be A-OK, sitting pretty in a Care Bear cloud car as they descend,
as they fly
to heaven over 18
fly
rainbows.
off to Hate-A-Lot and.
And this is when she insults my family, and we have one more.
What do we do till then? Is
Italians.
there
Not with a blase, goofy attitude. There's not. But if you have an interest in your never-dying soul, you'll get about the business of getting to the bottom of what your duty is, and that means that you'll be searching those scriptures every day.
Okay.
The time you're spending with all that gaming, you should be spending on getting a clue. I don't know who raised you, but you can write it down and take it to the bank. They hate you.
No!
Did you take that to the bank and have them tell you this is not an appropriate deposit slip?
You know, that was the one thing they could tell me what
You
to
write
do
down,
with.
my parents hate me. Can I have money?
It's less. You can't even use it like a California IOU.
That's why. Well, from here on out, I don't do direct deposit. I pray directly to my bank account. Seems to help. And
I was looking at the comments on the article, Games Radar versus Shirley
we
Phelps.
didn't even have comments when it posted, right?
Versus Shirley Phelps Roper. I'm looking at the no. These comments have all gone up since we added comments.
Okay.
Like several months later, and Baconator96 says, not to be rude or anything, but I hope God drop kicks her and her inbred family church through the goalpost of life.
Damn it!
There's also people in the comments who were like, as a Christian, this lady's crazy. God is kind of merciful.
Oddly enough. Yeah. Oddly enough, the Christians think she's crazy.
Yeah. So I
can't imagine why, because she seems so stable to me. Oh God. Okay.
This is the last thing. What can a gamer do? Well, what can a gamer do to do what the Lord God requires of them?
You can crack a Bible and read the words and obey.
But we can't play the Left Behind game or anything by Wisdom Tree. That's it. No more. We will get out of here. We will go into the community segment. Maybe
one more.
Can we have a break?
Yeah,
absolutely.
We will.
Need a bit.
I'm Joel McHale from Blank Blank, and you're listening to TalkRadar.
Hey, this is Tyler Wilde telling you about the Halo 3 ODST Special Awesome Ultimate Collector's Edition Guide, which I edited and is going to be on newsstand September 8th, and it contains a bunch of shit about Halo 3 ODST, as well as some nice little posters you could stick on your wall. And then you could show all your friends, and they'll be really jealous because they're so glossy and shit. It also features the silliness of Chris Antista, Brett Elston, and Charlie Barrett, and I think Michael Raparez, talking about Halo Reach, which they know nothing about. It is a goof about, and there's pictures. So go buy that, and you'll make me a happy boy. Peace!
My name is Ryo Hazuki. My father was killed by the warlord Lan Di. During my quest for vengeance, I have traveled far and wide and consorted with numerous unsavory characters. But enough about me. Let's talk about you, Nozomi.
Brian? Brian! Who's Nozomi?
Shenmue on Dreamcast, rated T for teen.
Shut up! I'd buy that for $1.
Bunch of PAX Rock Band stuff out this week. I still want to play more Dreamcast tunes, so there. You want to jump into game deal segments? Because it's short. Chris, you get ready for the game deal segment song.
Are we in the third segment?
Oh, bitch, we are so deep into it.
I just started eating chips.
Chew it through Donald's song.
Save a little money for
Wait.
a rainy day.
There you go.
Yes!
Charming.
Game deal segment. What do we got this week? Best Buy, buy one PS3 game, get one half off. Should still be going on by the time you hear this. Not a bad deal. Also, Best Buy has Saints Row 2 Collector's Edition, $19.99, PS3 360.
Yeah, that never sold for some reason.
What's in it?
I bought this when
I know.
Circuit City went under. You get a tin case. You get a USB flash drive with in the shape of a bullet.
Dude.
I forget if anything is on it. I don't think I've ever looked to see.
A virus.
Yeah, probably. And something else that I forget.
Here's the question. Why? Like, why do all these games have limited editions, special flappy big cases, tin things?
They're
like,
an easy way to make $10 to $20 extra by
Sure.
shopping cheap junk onto people.
Okay, I understand that, but the point is, like, you have the reason that they have stacks of this is because guess what? No one really wants a special edition. Like, a lot of people enjoyed Saints Row 2. It was a good game. It was well liked. A lot of people played it, but it's the special editions have to be for a game that people really care about, right? And it's,
we were talking about that in terms of how the prices drop. Like Ubisoft will drop the price in a game in like a week, and still seem to. There's still another one coming out, so they plan on this being a franchise. So it seems like the more incentive they can get people to adopt early.
Yeah, no, for sure. I understand all the logic behind it from a marketing perspective. It just seems like kind of futile. I actually will not buy any limited editions anymore. It's just a waste of shelf space.
Dude,
a waste of $10.
They always go on sale for almost cheaper than the retail game will go for. And it doesn't make any sense. Like, wow, this comes with an action figure that my dog could destroy by stepping on it.
What about the Brothers in Arms limited edition?
Oh, no.
That we got? That was sad.
Oh, no. It's $9, like, almost universally everywhere.
It came out last November, and it's $9.
Which means, like, the game is so universally, like, disliked that the limited edition is cheaper than the game itself. Like, please, just take it.
The stores want to get rid of it because it's larger. See, that's
it's
thing,
larger,
right? They want to get rid of it.
They're all about shelf space. Yeah, so Best Buy, you should see a lot of sales. Right, that's what these sales are about. To buy one get one half off to clear shelf space for Christmas.
Right.
Yeah, forgot about that. The shelf space.
I would also like to say Puzzle Quest for XBLA is 50% off at 400 Microsoft points this week.
Apparently, and again, this is one of those mythical retailers I've never heard of. If you go, you have in-store pickup only. Micro Center's got Beatles Rock Band for $39.99.
Micro Center?
Exactly, never heard
Oh,
of
wait,
it.
there's one of those in South Bay, I think.
Refuse to believe it.
To
Micro Center.
Google Micro
It's probably too small to see.
Center. Microcenter.com.
Yes, it was hilarious.
There's one in Santa Clara.
There you go. I saw it. I went to California Extreme, I think is when I saw it. Drove past.
You went to California Extreme?
Yeah.
How was that?
I went once.
Lots
I
of
went
fun.
twice, and it's a lot of fun. It's just, $30.
I got to play the Cloak and Dagger arcade game, which I'd never seen before. It's like, you ever see that movie, Cloak and Dagger?
Yeah, I've seen it.
With the kid from E.T. and Dabney Coleman?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a good movie.
San Antonio.
Love
Shot on
Dabney.
location.
There should be more Dabney Coleman games.
I was going to say there should be more movies about, like, kids and spying in video games.
Being in danger.
That are good, though.
Kids in peril.
Because that wouldn't work. I'm sure if they try to do, like, they just did, they try to do Escape to Witch Mountain with The Rock.
Oh, God.
So they'll do Cloak and Dagger eventually, and it'll have, like, a terrible game. And
That was the last movie screening the podcast was invited to. Race to Witch Mountain. I'm a big Disney nerd. That shit was abysmal and made no fucking sense.
I like the original, though.
I love the original. But this was about kids who could control electronics but needed The Rock to drive, like, a late model Ford. Like, he can stop things in action and take money from the ATM and move matter, but he can't, Oh, wait, but that is almost the end of the game deal segment.
With Arthur.
Amazon also has some kind of deal that I couldn't really get a good handle on, even asking people in the fucking office. 50% off subscriptions to Nintendo Power, PlayStation, the official magazine, OXM, and PC Gamer. And the OXM and PC Gamer includes the disc. So it means you can get a year subscription to Nintendo Power for less than $5.
Really?
And I have to say the latest issue of Nintendo Power has Avatar on the cover.
Does it?
Yes. The newest issue about to hit stands has
PlayStation or Nintendo?
Nintendo Power.
Really?
Yeah, it has Avatar, the Wii version, on the cover.
Really?
It is a very interesting issue because there are a great deal of interesting games for Wii, like Tower of Shadows. It looks like Ico Shadow of the Colossus kind of visuals, very dreamlike, but everything you play is on the
this is the Hudson game. I saw a trailer for this. It's really cool.
It looks really cool.
Like, you're not playing the character, you're playing the character's shadow. Like, you only see the shadow being cast on
There's a light source somewhere in the world that's casting a shadow, and that's what you play, the shadows of everything. And so you never actually see what you're playing as. You just see the shadow of it. It's really cool.
Yeah,
and then there's a game called And Yet It Moves. That is a really cool name, and that's also, like, I don't know, it's a really cool issue of Nintendo Power. Avatar's on the cover.
Oh, crap, I don't know where we started, but that was the end of the game deal segment.
Take my advice, do as I
Yes.
say. Save a little money for a rainy day.
We also have copies of Supernatural to give away. 4th season. Has anybody seen this show?
I never even heard of it.
I asked one of my friends who does watch it to describe it to me, and he didn't.
I tell you what.
So I have no information.
The contest is to describe us what the show Supernatural is. The person who describes the best show wins the box set.
Doesn't necessarily have to be the right show.
Not at all.
Best.
Not at all.
The best show you could think of.
The
We only
best
have
show-
one to give away.
It's called We have 5 to give away.
5. So the 5 best shows you come up
But
with.
that adhere to the title Supernatural.
Supernatural.
That's right.
It must be supernatural in some degree. In fact, if someone just describes the X-Files, you win.
No, it's not true. But it also, you can't just describe fucking Talladega Nights the show and
Right.
expect to win either. Supernatural. I want you to pitch something. We'll send this over to Paramount Brothers or whoever makes things that show on screens.
The TV.
Oh, we
company.
didn't even mention. I really apologize for that because Eric landed through Games Quest Direct. You could get Arkham Asylum for $47 with an exclusive Games Radar code.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good.
And the first Fatal Frame. They're selling that. They're selling like reissued found copies of Fatal Frame 1, and
Which
you
is
get,
what, Xbox?
Or PS2.
That's
Or
a
PS2.
Christian question.
I believe that the
reissue.
reissues are only PS2.
I'll be knowing that shit.
I don't think there's any way to print Xbox One games anymore.
No, not even on a DVD.
Not even on a DVD.
Okay.
There is no way.
Well, I mean, they have. The companies have to authorize that.
Yeah.
Like Microsoft would have to have like a process. Where that all gets done and blah blah blah. So.
Normally, Game Quest Direct, I guess they specialize in unearthing like weird quantities of old games that are out of print.
We just gave away 5 copies or whatever of Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance that were unearthed.
They were press copies that the public had, different UPC number. If you scan them, no one would know what they were, but whatever. Fatal Frame, $29.99 with a coupon code, $10 off, GRFATAFRM.
They just call me fat?
Fatafrem! The Batman Arkham Asylum code. Free shipping, too, I think. PS3 and 360, $46.99 with this coupon code, GRBATARC.
Wow.
Don't know what that means.
No idea.
No idea.
That's the Riddler at it again.
Bad arc. Bam. Your game deals are fucking satiated.
Question of the week.
What was last week's question
Last
of the
week's
week?
question of the week was question of the week number 51. What peripheral disappointed you the most?
Well, Christian wasn't here. What's the stupidest hardware peripheral you've had for a game system?
Me personally, U-Force.
U-Force.
Wow.
Brett just got one.
I just got one from Dan Amrick. He brought one to me.
I had to pick between the Power Glove and the U-Force, which I
Oh.
now recognize was a lose-lose situation. But at the time, it was a very difficult, exciting choice. I
Yes.
picked the U-Force because I thought, even better than a glove is no glove.
No
Just
glove.
wave your
Man.
hands. What it really was a way to make playing Super Mario Brothers impossible.
Impossible, yeah. All those things were
Almost
like...
all of
You were
them
supposed to play Battle Tank with it.
That's right.
Or whatever the hell.
They
that
always
game
advertised
was.
it with punch out of move your hands and you punch. And it's like, and then 20 years later, we're doing that for real with the Wii Remote.
It's poor.
I just hate how
it's extremely poor.
Just the idea of like even the Power Glove, using it to control a game. Like I've tried to play Top Gun with it, and you would think it would make sense to hold your hand out at stretch, and move your hand up and down as pitch yaw of a plane. No, that's not how it controls at all.
Nope.
It controls like shit.
Yeah.
User Crabbo, he was disappointed with the Super Scope, although he admits his own problem with it was he tried to play Duck Hunt for NES with his Super Scope, assuming that those things talk to each other as you would do when you were young. I thought that was humorous.
Super Scope was... I remember my friend got it, and I was like... We had fun playing it for like one night, but then I was
Yeah.
like, I'm glad you bought this. And
No,
not-
yeah, exactly.
That was the Super Scope.
Reader Boner Achieved said the Hey You Pikachu
Boing.
mic, because again, what is it with Nintendo and making microphones for their systems that do nothing?
It worked with one game.
Work with one game.
Well, that Henry was talking about
And
how the
Odama.
microphone for Mario Party where you said left or right instead
Yeah.
of pressing left or right.
That's terrible. And then,
Odama, yeah. That
Yeah.
That was an excursion into pain.
it just showed up. Odama is what if the Dreamcast still existed. Odama is the kind of game that would have been
I'm
released.
not sure
on
if
a
I know what we're
fucking
talking about.
Odama was a strange... It should have been good, but it wasn't. It was a pinball
The pinball Gonga
battlefield game.
With the Donkey Konga drum.
You used the Donkey Kong bongos to play
Got it.
paddles and used the microphone to talk, and it was about hitting a ping pong ball
It
as
was
soldiers.
too bizarre to live.
No way this game. The cover is like a ball and a baby's head with spider legs. It makes no sense. All right.
The thing is, it could have been good, though, because like, they
Yeah.
could have made a good pinball game out of it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how weird it is, but it's not.
Yeah, it's just not good.
Whoopsie daisy.
Mecha Morbo pointed out basically all of those Game Boy magnifying light things that would sit on top of your Game Boy. And
the snake lights.
I had the Light Boy for the original Game Boy.
Things like the Light Boy, not the Worm Light for Game Boy Color, but like things that just defeated the entire purpose of it being portable in any sense.
And they were like made of like refracting glass, so like it was like all bulbous. It was like a Hype Williams video.
Yeah,
from the
it was
1990s.
huge. Bar One Scorpio pointed out the Steel Battalion controller that he still never has a use for.
Oh, you can't hate on the Steel Battalion controller. It's
seriously,
sure. It's
you can
only
use it in like Fusion Frenzy, right?
It's only useful for Steel Battalion, but it's a really neat controller.
It is an amazing controller.
It's
I'll
well
give you that.
made. I don't know.
RXB said the Logitech Nitro steering wheel, and he goes into reasons you can check out on GameTwitter.com/forums. Gamer spelled Gaymer with a avatar is.
Love that movie.
What? That's a movie? Oh, the movie out this week. The Aura Interactor, which is a thing you put on your chest to shake you.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. It was bass frequencies from the soundtrack would shake your chest.
Stupid.
I remember trying to explain to people why that was a good idea. It's like you're getting punched for real. It's like,
isn't that cool?
Why?
Why
would you want to do that? That's stupid.
You could sit on the chair that had the speakers built into it out at the same time, and you could be a real loser. It would be great.
I could literally walk out my front door now and get punched for real for no reason.
What, do you live in the loin or something?
Yeah.
Yeah,
he lives on a wonderful street. Tiger Claws. Use your Tiger Claws. The Final Fantasy X-2 Tiny B gun controllers, which are nice looking on their stand they come with, and much like this Christian pointed out, the Onimusha 3 sword controller have no practical application for gameplay whatsoever.
Or the Resident Evil 4 chainsaw
controller.
Yeah, those are all this weird brief fad of getting really popular games to have these controllers that looked cool but were useless. The Tiny Bs were Yuna's guns from Final Fantasy X-2, and the controllers were two guns for which you could not shoot anything with, but it instead had like a D-pad and buttons above the handle.
Oh, it was really bad.
Oh my gosh.
And then the last one I want to read is Nathan Explosion.
Drunk.
Nathan Explosion. Well, 7 beers will do that. It's not 7 beers.
Oh.
Correct.
Nathan Explosion pointed out the Sega Activator.
Yes.
And it's the kind of thing that it came out at a time. It was the beginning of Sega's downfall. Part of the reason that we revere the Dreamcast so much is because this is what Sega started to do.
It had a glimmer of hope in that it had a 6-button controller and a good addition of Street Fighter. I'm like, well, this is the fighting game platform from here on out. We got Blood Mortal Kombat, Eternal Champions, and Championship Edition.
Yeah.
Here's where you want to be. This is the next step.
The next step was the Sega Activator, which was this thing you would lay down on the floor.
A plastic octagon.
It's a plastic octagon that shot out infrared light, and you would move, and it would translate which quadrant of the octagon you penetrated the field of would activate a button.
For some reason, this was not a great product.
Yeah, imagine that it worked like shit in 1993 or whenever this thing came out.
Sega at the time was just like, competing so hard with Nintendo that they got into this real gimmick stuff. And they had the Menacer, which was like the Super Scope but worse.
It was the Super Scope that broke into 6 parts, man.
Oh, dude.
You done been menaced.
You had to keep it in a suitcase and assemble it when your target was nearby.
But I pulled... Why?
All right.
Poor Cecil. I hate that my favorite game of all time is relegated to that.
Why?
It was a real question.
Could be worse. Could be like that Mega Man Zero thing.
What am I fighting for? All right.
Shed some light in your dark soul.
So these are all references no one will get, but the Sega Activator, here's something we can all relate to, right?
Mm-hmm.
No. I pulled some sound clips of the tape that I assume came with the package.
It did.
To explain to you what the fuck to do with this thing. First this is the introduction to your Sega Activator.
The Activator is for indoor use only. Any room with a standard ceiling height will do. Just be sure to give yourself enough space to move around. You don't want to be crowded when you use the Activator. Avoid setting up directly beneath light sources. Also, avoid metallic or mirrored overhead surfaces.
No disco balls in your house.
Yeah.
Use the Activator.
But that's the precursor where you're like, wow, these sure are a lot of caveats to me using this thing.
Don't play in your parents' porn closet.
Oh man, you don't want.
Your older brother has a mirror over his bed. Do not set up the activator.
Yeah, but it's like, wait.
Pull down the fuck swing before you use the activator.
But then it's like
pull down the dick gym.
So then I was like, wait, how complicated is this thing going to get?
There are 7 standard panels and 1 master panel. Lay them out on the floor in an octagonal shape. Feel them easily snap into place. Make sure the master panel is facing the TV set. Place the optional stickers on each of the panels. These stickers correspond with game actions and controls. Will help you coordinate your moves.
Okay,
Remember
so
to maintain this numerical configuration for future setups.
And now you're blocking punches.
Here's the question I have. If there's a number on each panel, it's an octagon, some of the numbers will be behind you. So are you supposed to punch backwards, or are we supposed to turn around facing away from the television and play with the activator?
The thing they show is, that's number 6 and 7. What you want to do is you want to put your hands behind you like you're diving through the air.
Yeah.
And like that. So now, and this is the next stage in the setup of the fucking
It's an
activator.
octagon, but somehow there's 17 numbers.
The next step is the most important thing you have to do.
Like the alarm sound.
This is the most important.
The activator beams must adjust themselves for optimum performance to the specific gameplay area. Stand away from the panels, at least 3 feet, and turn on your Genesis. Wait for about 20 seconds, or until the game title appears on the screen. The activator will not work properly without this procedure. Remember, you'll need to recalibrate every time you turn on the Genesis, or put in a different cartridge.
When you're playing Extreme, you gotta want to follow instructions.
Meanwhile, the fucking bass line of this song in the background is...
And meanwhile, in my situation at this time, I couldn't have the VCR hooked up at the same time as the Genesis. So
it's just...
I'm writing all this down feverishly.
3 feet away, 20 seconds. You want to wait 20 seconds or until the screen comes on. We don't know which
thing
will
I
be
want to
first.
do is just have a good time.
Oh, all right, and then the final one is what the different sides of this octagon mean to the Genesis controller.
Panel 2 is the B button. Panel 8 is the C button.
Duh.
Panels 1, 3, 5, and 7 act as the directional pad.
Here's a question on my mind.
Panels 4 and 6 are like the A button. When hit together, they're the start move.
4 and 6 are something individually, but if you hit them at the same time, they're the start button. And those are the 2 behind you. So
Here's the question,
you do like
though.
a back V.
Here's the question. So why didn't they just put A on the panel instead of 1 and then tell you it was the A button?
Yes, exactly. 1, 7, and 9 are the D-pad. Fuck. And then
D-pad was like this, like
so you're doing this. You're playing Paradise years before it happened. No one gets it. All right.
Nope.
No, I do. I've seen it.
All right. The last one.
Is that a misnomer?
Incorrectly sums up the entire experience.
It seems simple because it is.
Correct. And now you're playing games.
Did you have an activator?
No, I did not.
Did you play with one?
No.
Because you'd be very knowledgeable about it.
I watched the video.
Did you ever see it in action?
I was too old to be that stupid by the time it came out. You have to remember, 1993, I was like 16, so I was like...
Yeah. We're like
I was 12.
A generation apart. No big deal.
No, I'm just saying.
I'm Thundercats, you're Voltron.
Sure.
What? All right.
It was like 6 months.
All right. So that was last week's...
No, I'm not trying to say. I'm not saying I'm old or anything. It's just like, yeah. By the time I was 16, I was not going to fall for the activator. You know?
Right.
Yeah. So that was question of the week 51. That takes us to into the podcast. Question of the week 52. Post your answers. GamesRadar.com/forums. TalkRadar podcast. Also, we have the question of the week article on the main Games Radar site. So there's 2 different ways you can interact: forums or the main site. Question 52, which is not confusing considering it's podcast 68, is...
It wasn't confusing until you confused me.
Now you're confused. So think about what question 68 will be when we're on podcast. What is your fondest Sega memory?
Oh, Sega of all.
Given that it is the week we're going to be talking about the Dreamcast.
And if your answer is the activator, you're wrong.
Yeah, you're wrong. Unless, I had fun watching that video, so maybe one person really watched that over and over as a child and was like, man, one of these days.
Yeah,
I'm
if
gonna
you
have
have
a
a fond
haircut
memory,
like the
I can
single
laugh
dad guy.
at. That's good, too.
I'll go first, maybe, since everyone... I know I spring these on everyone because I want to get like knee-jerk reactions and not like calculated responses. Mine is obvious when Sonic the Hedgehog 1 came out. Of complete, but prior to that, it was all Nintendo all the time. Nintendo was the fad. Nintendo was de facto video game. Everyone said, you play Nintendo. Is that a Nintendo? and I didn't even think anything else was really possible. I remember having an Atari earlier as like a 3 and 4 or 5-year-old, but like not really. It was just a thing that was in the house. My sister had it before me. Whereas Sega, holy shit, there's another option. I could be doing another system and playing Sonic and then discovering all at once all these games that were coming out. And Sega hit this awesome stride of Streets of Rage, Toe Jam and Earl, Sonic the Hedgehog, and then off-the-wall weird shit like that no one else really probably identifies with, Quackshot and General Chaos.
No, a lot of people like Quackshot.
Quackshot, General Chaos, Mutant League Football, Desert Strike, like this amazing streak where it's the only time my Nintendo fandom in my life has been absolutely questioned, where I could not decide which system I liked more, and it was the only time I've ever felt true affinity for Sega. And then Dreamcast came and kind of rekindled it a little. Like Saturn, I was completely disappointed. I'm in the minority in this room about that's for sure. But
it's a disappointing system.
But then, you see Game Gear disappointing. Sega CD, I fell in love with. I love that piece of shit.
That's ridiculous.
I was trying to relate it to Michael. Sega CD is the gaming equivalent of, loving a rickety old ship that you can tell how fast you're going by the rumble in the floorboard. That's how I feel playing a Sega CD game, where I'm like, I can just... It feels like a Sega CD game.
I was going to
say
the weird
audio
a
that
paraplegic core with a lot of makeup.
No, because it wasn't even pretty.
It
just sounded really good.
She can't move on her own. But gosh, does she look good from the neck up.
That's a strange metaphor.
That doesn't actually make any sense, but okay.
It does, too. If you can fit it inside of a postage stamp, boom, that whore looks amazing. Until you see those rickety nubs with the extended bones.
So in conclusion, Ground Zero Texas is the greatest game of all time.
Yes.
But yeah,
Billy McRae.
I would be like Lunar.
Lunar, yeah. Lunar, Dark
Snatcher.
Lunar, Dark Wizard,
Snatcher, fine.
Sega CD, that whole 92, 93 area was just total magic for me. Both systems had a lot to offer, whereas now if you have a 360 or PS3, you're kind of getting the same experience as everyone else. You're missing on some exclusives, but for the most part, you're getting the same
in terms of
thing.
exclusives, Nintendo, Sega, 360, PS3 do not.
Yeah,
one has way more exclusives than the other.
Yeah. I don't
whatever.
know.
I don't want PS3 fans to get mad at me, even though they will, so fuck you. But you just don't have as many exclusives as the 360, so shut up. Did I kill it? What the fuck?
Christian?
Fondest Sega... That's a really tough call for me, because I've been a Sega fan for a long time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of... Could I do a top 10?
Top 2.
The two that I think are really, really fun... At least I don't think anybody else is going to have these. Beating Phantasy Star 1 on the Master System.
Wow. That's a trial.
That was awesome when I did it fucking 20 years ago. I never did that, Christian.
That was that one was a challenge of a game. That was the first RPG I ever played, and it was so hard. And I had to call their tip line.
Oh,
and
1-800-USA Sega.
They mailed me a free Xerox guide with maps of the game.
Wow.
They actually tried to dissuade me from continuing to play. They're like, it's too hard. Just wait till the guide gets there in the mail.
Wow.
I finished it, and the other one's this is the first time I ever drove to buy a new game system because I was a teenager.
Right.
Driving to pick up the Saturn. And almost getting in a car wreck because I was sleepy. Because I picked it up in the morning. The Saturn was that, everyone remembers, the Saturn was a surprise release.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
They announced it was on sale at E3 and no one knew it was going to. What a great idea.
I walked into the same Babbage's that I saw NFL 2K at. I walked into that Babbage's and they were unpacking the Saturns and they were all confused. Everyone working at the store. What? They had no retail space to put it on. Yeah.
I went to EB in the mall, and they said I could only guarantee a Saturn for the next day.
Wow!
If I paid in full up front, so I paid in full up front with a credit card my mom gave me to buy college textbooks, and which was $423.99 if I recall correctly.
Wow. Yeah, it was $400.
Yeah, and then the next morning they had them. I drove to. I didn't have any class, so I drove to the mall, picked up the Saturn. Almost got in a wreck on the way back.
Jesus.
Remember, the Saturn was sitting on my the passenger seat of my car in the front seat. But as I was changing lanes, it was shifting around. I got nervous and I just got distracted, pushed it towards the floor. That was a fun little escapade.
What games did you buy with your launch Saturn?
Clockwork Knight and Panzer Dragoon 2 days later.
Oh, wow.
Well, the choices, it came
Clockwork Knight.
It came with Virtua Fighter,
yeah,
so you didn't have to buy Virtua Fighter. So I bought Clockwork Knight the first day,
which was fun.
Then I went back and bought Panzer Dragoon 2 days later,
which was awesome.
I couldn't decide between them because I'd already seen Panzer Dragoon, so I wanted to see something new.
Right.
I'd seen there was a for some reason, all the guys who worked at Babbage's or Software Etc. in the mall had imported Saturn and PlayStation, and they brought in like videotapes. They like taped off their own televisions to show the imports.
Interesting.
That was kind of cool.
That's a good idea, actually. Michael?
I have 3, actually, but they're fairly quick.
They better be.
The first one is when I was a kid, discovering the Sega Master System for the first time at one of those little timed kiosks that they had in a store, and playing Zillion and Alex Kidd and Fantasy Zone and Rambo 3.
When you turn Zillion on for the first time, it's like the coolest thing.
It
like,
is.
The anime guy pops up, shoots a screen, then the logo comes up, and this amazingly beautiful music
It's like
plays.
way better than anything on the NES at the time. Second one is buying a Saturn for $80 at Target from a huge stack of them as they were on the way out, and then getting a shit ton of really awesome games for cheap. And the third is being at a demo for Jet Set Radio Future at Dolby Labs in San Francisco and getting to play it on the big screen in theater.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that giant screen, the Dolby...
Yeah, I think it was the 4-player. Getting to play at 4-player.
Who were you
on a
working
giant
for
screen.
at the time?
I was just at the newspaper that I was working at. Yeah, just got invited, so went down. And
Is Zillion with an X or a Z?
Z.
A Z.
Yeah, it's based on some anime.
Is it based on the Zillion anime?
Yes.
I'm guessing it's...
It is based on the anime Zillion.
And Chris,
which only ever came out in VHS in America. Nope. There you go. That music's so good.
I'm leaning into my laptop.
There you go. Watch Michael crumble with nostalgia.
It's pretty good, I gotta
It's
say.
not the same screen.
No, it's not. As an expert on video game music, I say it is good.
Awesome.
It is awesome.
One, getting the Genesis after my parents wouldn't buy me one, so I starved myself for 3 or 4 months and saved up my lunch money and bought my That was the first one I punished myself for system. I like today, like, oh man, I got these credit card bills to pay back.
Right.
Like, no, I really starved myself. I ate lunch on Dares. Like, I bet you can't eat 18 donuts in one sitting. I'm like, I bet you I'm really hungry. and something about the Dreamcast, and I had originally thought it was. I just assumed it was going to be a Dreamcast question. Something about playing MDK on the Dreamcast, because I really liked platformers, but they were all kiddie centric, and MDK was not.
It's
And
actually
that was
one of the games in the 22 brilliant games you let die.
And
it feels like it didn't take off.
Yeah.
The Dreamcast.
And the same with Tony Hawk. It was like that was the superior platform ever to play both.
I played
on.
so much THPS2 on the Dreamcast.
Yeah. Tony Hawk 2 was.
That's where I learned. That's where I can only use one shoulder button at a time. It's from the Dreamcast.
Yeah, Dreamcast. Tony Hawk 2 was the first one. Like so many
I'll
hours.
never be good because
So
of the
many hours.
Dreamcast.
You know what game that should go on that is Tokyo Extreme Racer 2.
I thought about
They made a lot of Tokyo Extreme Racers. In fact, I recently picked up the... there's one for Xbox 360 called Import Tuner Challenge. It is the same series. It just got a different title. You know, the series just never... it was like on the cutting edge during the Dreamcast. Now, not so much.
I should say Dreamcast almost game deal-y again. Have a theme
They
song.
announced a new game today.
New game today. What is it?
Rush Rally
Racing.
Rush Rally Racing, which basically is Super Sprint. It's an overhead racing game that it's like it doesn't
promises
have to look
no
like
realistic backgrounds, no sponsored cars, only fun and retro gameplay. I like the regression of we can't possibly offer you what you're used to.
Right.
So boom, that's a selling point.
Well, it's
None
cool.
of this.
I think a lot of people are sort of tired of the way games have become. I mean, obviously, that's sort of that's what XBLA and stuff is a response to as well.
Yeah, for sure.
know, so
that's a good point.
Yep.
You know
Which
what?
to me, it just lends more credence to the sign that this is a medium worth preserving, like as movies or music. Like it is a thing that is
I
obviously
agree. And it doesn't
growing
seem
in
as
it.
pathetic to follow it either. Like silent films are amazing. Like no, you'll get fun out of these older games.
Yeah.
Whether they have licensed vehicles or not. So shut your mouth.
Shut your face.
Oh, getting my Dreamcast from UPS. Like I ordered to import Dreamcast from NCS. And just waiting for the UPS, sitting there, and I got up early. I got up at 8 a.m. so I wouldn't miss the UPS guy.
I remember doing
Dreamcast
things like checking the tracking number and being like, "What town is it in?"
If I can say that I never pre-ordered a console on the day of launch ever until this one, and I'm wearing the shirt I got as a bonus for doing so. Walking in with purpose, like, oh man, I couldn't find a Dreamcast at Kmart. I couldn't find one at Montgomery Ward. Motherfucker pre-ordered. Walk into Toys R Us, strode in confidently, knocked over a display or two, but I got my Dreamcast immediately.
See, that I tried that too because I had a pre-order at Toys R Us. Walked in and they're like, "Oh no, we're sold out." And like, I made a stink, and I'm like, "Look, I have a pre-order. That means you were supposed to put aside a system for me." And they went back and talked quietly in the back room, and then guy comes out with a Dreamcast. Says, "Here you go. It's a Chinese model. It'll overheat, so bring it back in a few days, and we'll exchange it for a new one."
Oh, I remember that. That actually was a thing. There was like a, there was when Dreamcast came out, there was like a manufacturing thing about overheating and stuff. He was referring to something that was actually like a thing at the time.
They were catching on fire, weren't they?
No, that was Xbox.
It was Xbox.
But there was something to do with Dreamcast overheating. People complaining online. I had a Japanese Dreamcast. It was beautiful.
Yeah,
it had the shiny triangle. All the American ones had the plain matte gray triangle.
One of which was still hooked up to this day for several hours, for nights at a time.
I actually have 2 Dreamcasts because when I got laid off from Gamers.com, again,
fire sale.
Well, when you played PSO, your character would only work on the Dreamcast on which you had your account.
Oh, no shit.
That's true, yeah.
So I got permission to take my work Dreamcast home with me. Like, I had to ask Sega PR if I could. It was Jenny Mahalka, now Jen Ontiveros from, she's at Golden Harris now. But I said, "Jenny, do you mind if I keep my Dreamcast?" Because we're supposed to send them all back.
Right.
And she's like, "You can keep it."
That's cool.
So
That's sweet.
Yeah.
You know what,
that was
Christian?
very sweet.
You have so many personal memories. You're picking the song the podcast is going out on.
Of course, and we didn't mention this game at all.
I know, what
is
the fuck?
A crime, but I love this game. It's got the Japanese version has the best packaging ever. Beautiful, sparkly, wonderful packaging. We're going to go out on the theme song from Space Channel 5,
Woo!
Mexican Flyer.
Who's got something to tease? What's happening next week?
Well, actually, we already played them in the podcast several weeks ago. All those Nintendo commercials we played that I took from Toys R Us, I'm finally doing an article on those.
I'm working on the thing about characters. It's going up way later. Bye.
Yeah. It'll be a while.
I have nothing next week.
Aw.
Except for a bunch of editing. This week has been really busy. I've done 3.5 articles, and it's been a little rough, so I'm looking forward to some relative downtime. And I'm also going to be reviewing something fairly large for OXM.
Ooh.
Yep.
Yeah, and we'll have, as you know, if you've been following Twitter, Charlie's been playing ODST and has already beat it, so he'll be having the review embargoes are a couple weeks away, so that's coming.
Christian, you'll be at where?
Well, I'll be in Austin, Texas, at GDC Austin, which is a big trade show for developers. Some interesting stuff should come out of that. I'll be interviewing some luminaries, and then the week after is Tokyo Game Show.
Now, I should say I'll also be participating in a big multi-person preview of Grand Theft Auto 4, Ballad of Gay Tony.
Good stuff, good stuff. All right, we're getting out of here. Who wants to go away with Shirley Phelps Roper?
But what you do know,
Can you make a guesstimate?
what you do know, is that it's going to be.
Bloody?
Oh yeah.
「そのまま